Chapter 1929. Ao Yong became the emperor, Ning Shu became the empress dowager, and Ning Shu was the empress. She was the mother of the country and the official mother of the child. Ning Shu should be the one to carry the child to court. Please search for the most complete version. Translator, Atlas Studios editor. Atlas Studios concubine Xian was so happy that she cried. Her child had inherited the throne and all the hardships she had suffered before were nothing. However, the child had two mothers and two empress dowagers in the palace. This was a bit awkward. Concubine Xian tried her best to suppress the unwillingness in her heart, but the child had already been placed in the empress' lap. Back then, she had no choice but to let the child follow the empress. Now that she had made it, concubine Xian's thoughts became active again. Ning Shu wore a grand phoenix robe and her hair was combed into the empress dowager's makeup. Her hair was covered in pearls and jade, and her lips were red. She carried Ao Yong onto the altar and completed the prayer. She told the heavens that the emperor had changed. Then, after a series of ceremonies, Ao Yong became the new emperor of the great Zhou dynasty amidst the crying of the child. Ning Shu's arms were numb from carrying Ao Yong. It wasn't that they were heavy, but that they had to maintain the same posture. Ning Shu began the arduous morning court journey. He had to wake up early in the morning and dress very formally every time. He had to wake up early to get busy. Because the emperor was young, the court officials asked the emperor to assist the ministers. Then, the various parties elected 5 regents. Ning Shu was speechless. Are you kidding me? It was easy to distribute these powers, but when the time came to take them back, it would cost him his life. Moreover, it was his own father. Ning Shu said lightly, Minister Tan is not qualified to be an assistant minister. The servants committed a crime. His salary will be deducted for half a year and he will face the wall for 3 months. Father Tan was stunned. He knelt down to thank the Empress Dowager. It was supposed to be an assistant minister. Why did the Empress Dowager punish his father? Ning Shu carried Ao Yong, whose eyes were wide open. Occasionally, she reached out to pull Ning Shu's hair. Ning Shu had no choice but to take back his hair expressionlessly. 5 assistant ministers is too many. How about this? I have decided on 3 assistant ministers. The first is Li Wangye, the second is Li Gu, and the third is Scholar Gu. Appointing a prince as the representative of the royal family would at least guarantee the Ao clan's position in the royal family. Between the prince and the emperor, Grand Secretary Li would represent the aristocratic clans while Scholar Gu was a scholar from a humble background. For Scholar Gu to be able to reach the position of a scholar, his resources were already considered a miracle. Actually, it was a 3-way situation. The most surprising one was Scholar Gu. However, being able to become the regent was equivalent to reaching the heavens in a single bound. Even Ao Tianzi couldn't rule by himself. As a woman, the chances of her doing as she pleased was close to 0. Moreover, there were people rushing over to help. For the sake of power, this was the only way. This was a temporary measure. Ao Yong couldn't do anything now. He couldn't even say a word. Empress Dowager, you mustn't do this. The courtiers all knelt down. Of course, some of them had failed and were unwilling to do so. Ning Shu appeared to be in a difficult position and said, If you have anything to say, tell the 3 regents. I am a woman and do not know much about court affairs. After confirming the regents, Ning Shu immediately began to shift the responsibility. If you have something to say, go. If not, leave the court. The eunuch shouted. The courtiers had no choice but to acquiesce to the 3 regents. Out of the 5 regents, 2 were suddenly reduced. The silly and sweet Empress Dowager was really interesting. Ning Shu's scalp was hurting because of the child. After the court, he gave the child to the wet nurse. Old Man Tan returned to the mansion and told his wife about the situation. His daughter made an example of him. Mrs. Tan was instantly stunned. Half a year's salary was nothing. The family had a shop. Now that her daughter was the regent Empress Dowager, she actually made an example of her father. She thought that the Tan clan was going to rise. Do you want me to go into the palace to find the Empress Dowager? Mrs. Tan asked. She was embarrassing her father. Don't go, don't go. The loss of a city and a pool is nothing. The emperor is still in his infancy and we don't know when he will be in power. The one sitting on the dragon throne now is your daughter. The Tan clan can't be in the limelight. Old man Tan shook his head and said, although there are regents, we still have to go through the Empress Dowager. Old man Tan said, Tan Yusin was killed in the cold palace. Old man Tan immediately resigned and went into seclusion to protect his family. Old man Tan was also a decisive person. Ning Shu returned to the palace and saw that Fu Min, who had never left the palace, had actually come to his palace. Fu Min hurriedly bowed to Ning Shu. Ning Shu nodded. Get up. Are you feeling better? Fu Min immediately said, I'm much better. Thank you for your concern, Empress Dowager. Ning Shu asked the palace maid to bring the donkey hide gelatin. Take it and eat it. This thing is good for women. Fu Min's face didn't pale. Moreover, Ning Shu felt that Fu Min had instantly aged a lot. She didn't look angry. Ning Shu only wanted to say that when she was angry, no one would care about this harem. Square dancing should be done. Square dancing should be done. How should they play should be done. Fu Min asked the palace maid to accept the donkey hide gelatin. She bowed and said, Qinxia thanks the Empress Dowager for her grace. Thank the Empress Dowager for always forgiving Qinxia. Sit down. What are you here for this time? Ning Shu asked Fu Min. Fu Min bit her lips. Should she take out the imperial edict or not? To be honest, Fu Min didn't want to take out the imperial edict. The Empress Dowager was the regent Empress Dowager. If she became the Empress Dowager, she would be suppressing the regent Empress Dowager. It's nothing. Qinxia is here to pay respects to the Empress Dowager. Oh right, the late emperor gave Qinxia a name list. Qinxia thinks that it should be given to the Empress Dowager. Fu Min's palace maid respectfully handed the name list to Ning Shu. Ning Shu put down the teacup and took the name list. It was a list of imperial court officials. These people weren't outstanding. There were even some county magistrates. This name list is? Ning Shu asked Fu Min. This is a talent cultivated by the late emperor. The imperial court is controlled by the aristocratic families. The late emperor asked Qinxia to give it to the new emperor. Fu Min said. Ao Tianzi valued Fu Min very much. Empress Dowager, Qinxia wants to set up a Buddhist shrine in the hall. Fu Min said, the late emperor passed away. Qinxia's heart is unsettled, so Qinxia eats vegetarian and chants to pray to the late emperor. Ning Shu heard the hidden meaning in Fu Min's words. Fu Min was here to show weakness. She said that she didn't care about anything and wouldn't do anything. She probably wanted to ask Ning Shu to be magnanimous. Ning Shu smiled. If you live well, the late emperor will be at ease. It's not impossible for you to set up a Buddhist shrine. You should come out more often and interact with the sisters in the imperial harem. After all, the late emperor passed away. The sisters in the imperial harem will see you all the time. You'll be in the palace for the rest of your life. There's nothing you can't cross. Moreover, Fu Min didn't harm anyone in the imperial harem. There was no enmity between them. At most, she was favored by Ao Tianzi. Now that everyone lost his favor, they didn't worry about scarcity but about inequality. At most, they would be mocked. Wasn't she favored before? Wasn't it the same now? Fu Min also smiled. The Empress Dowager is really benevolent. Thank you, Empress Dowager. This book came from XHTML. Chapter 1930. Benevolence. Ning Shu felt complicated when she heard Fu Min praise her. If Fu Min knew that she was the one who killed Ao Tianzi, she would probably want to perish together with her. Please search for the most complete version. The fastest novel. Ning Shu smiled reservedly. It's all right. Ning Shu asked, other than this roster, what else did the late emperor leave you? Fu Min was slightly taken aback. She shook her head cleanly and said, he didn't leave anything. The emperor must have left the list for the sake of the country. Ning Shu saw that Fu Min's expression was a bit unnatural. Although it was only for a moment, Ning Shu still caught it. Could it be that Ao Tianzi left something for Fu Min? Since Ao Tianzi knew that he was going to die and even wrote a secret edict in advance that Ao Yong could never inherit the throne, It was possible that he had given a secret edict to Fu Min. Could it be that this secret edict was to depose her as the empress or something? If she were in Ao Tianzi's shoes, she would definitely think of ways to protect Fu Min and give her a way out after knowing that she might not make it. Therefore, Ning Shu guessed that Ao Tianzi must have left something in Fu Min's hand. This was very simple. He just needed to sweep through Fu Min's palace. Even if there was an imperial edict, if it was not an imperial edict to depose the empress, Ning Shu would not say anything. Moreover, Ao Tianzi was not completely powerless. The shadow guards from before had also stopped attacking. Ning Shu smiled. Fu Min couldn't sit still any longer. She stood up and bowed to Ning Shu before leaving. Ning Shu nodded. Don't lock yourself up in the palace all day. Come out and walk around. A person's life is very long. The infighting in the harem was much calmer without Ao Tianzi. Of course, the concubines were also much more indolent. They didn't know what to do at all. She tried her best to gain the emperor's favor. Now that the emperor was not around, she would occasionally drop by, embroider some flowers, or make some food. In short, if he didn't find something to do, he would be bored to death. If nothing unexpected happened, these imperial concubines would only die of old age in the palace. They were in the prime of their youth, and the oldest was in her 20s. However, they didn't have to worry about food and clothing. There were groups of servants, and they all wore luxurious clothes. Their days were very leisurely and carefree. Consort Xian carried her daughter to Ning Shu's palace and said that she missed her younger brother. Ning Shu didn't say anything. Imperial concubine Xian looked after the two children. From time to time, Imperial concubine Xian would glance at Ning Shu. When Ning Shu noticed her, she would quickly retract her gaze. Ning Shu, if you have something to say, say it. Consort Xian awkwardly said, the Empress Dowager is truly perceptive. Ning Shu just looked at her. Consort Xian said, Empress Dowager, I am the child's birth mother. I know that you are the child's birth mother. Oh, do you want to be a regent? Do you want to hold the child in court and sit on the dragon chair? Ning Shu could tell what concubine Xian was thinking at a glance. Consort Xian's face trembled. She was extremely embarrassed. I don't have such rebellious thoughts. It's fine if you have such thoughts. Since you want to hold the child in court, then go ahead. I will also rest tomorrow. Don't think that waking up in the middle of the night was a great honor. It was completely a tough job. When the child grew up, he would definitely want to be in power. The court originally had assistant ministers and the Empress Dowager. As the emperor, it would be strange if he felt good. He was suppressed both internally and externally. He might even cause the Empress Dowager to die suddenly. Ning Shu never dared to look down on human nature, regardless of whether it was evil or good. She was just a nanny now. When the time came and she retired, she shouldn't think that she could do anything she wanted in court. Consort Xian's eyes lit up. A mother's status depended on her son. It was simply wonderful to be able to make the courtiers worship her. Leave the child here. Come back early to bring the child to court. If the courtiers ask, tell them that I am sick and not feeling well. Ning Shu said lightly. Since she would give her whatever she wanted, did she really think that it was fun to just sit there? Yes, I understand. Consort Xian left happily. That night, Ning Shu arrived at Fu Min's palace. However, before she could enter, Ning Shu stopped in her tracks. This was because there were several secret guards protecting Fu Min in the palace. Ning Shu was speechless. Could it be that Ao Tianzi handed over all his secret guards to Fu Min? It was to protect Fu Min. These secret guards were weapons that could do anything. Ao Tianzi's hands were also powerful. Ning Shu frowned slightly and leaned against the wall. Ao Tianzi really gave Fu Min a lot of things. He was the only love. Even if he died, he would plan for Fu Min. It looked very affectionate. For others, there was a kind of scum in the world called affectionate scum. Except for the person they loved, everyone else was scum, just like pigs, cows, and sheep. That was why Ao Tianzi didn't have any psychological burden to let the secret guards protect the concubines in the harem. Ning Shu released his spiritual power and scanned Fu Min's palace. Fu Min was already asleep in the bedroom. In her sleep, Fu Min's face was covered in tears. For other concubines, it was just that the emperor was dead. They didn't even dare to treat the emperor as their husband. However, for Fu Min, Ao Tianze was her husband. Ning Shu scanned and found something under Fu Min's pillow. It was an imperial edict. It should have been given to her by Ao Tianze. There was a black jade pendant hanging on her chest. She put it under her clothes and wore it close to her body. It should have been given to her by Ao Tianze. Ning Shu was speechless. Sometimes, there was no point in being jealous. Ning Shu was indifferent. If it was Tan Yusen, she would probably be jealous. Moreover, she was Ao Tianze's legal wife. However, he didn't leave anything for her and even wanted to kill her. The difference in treatment was like heaven and earth. It was just like a deep hatred. With the secret guards guarding Fu Min, Ning Shu turned and left. She didn't need to sneak into Fu Min's palace. She could just ask directly. After returning to his palace, Ning Shu lay on the bed and went to sleep. He could sleep in tomorrow. The next day, before dawn, she whispered to Ning Shu, "Empress Dowager, old concubine Xian is here to hold the child." Ning Shu didn't even open his eyes. He just said, "Let her protect her child." She carried the sleeping child to old concubine Xian and said, "Old concubine, Empress Dowager told me to tell you to protect the child." "I know." Old concubine Xian took the child gently. The child in her arms was not only the emperor, but also her child. Her precious child. Old concubine Xian walked step by step from the side hall to the shining dragon throne under the gaze of the court officials. Facing the attention of the court officials, old concubine Xian was very nervous. Her muscles couldn't help but tremble. The distance to the dragon throne was very far. It took her a lot of effort to sit on it. The palace maid helped old concubine Xian tidy up her long dress. This book came from XHTML. Chapter 1931. Old concubine Xian sat on the dragon chair cautiously with her back straight. All the officials were staring at her. Old concubine Xian was so nervous that she couldn't control the muscles on her face. Everyone cheered 3 times and then greeted old concubine Xian. Old concubine Xian's voice trembled. "Rise." Prince Li, one of the regents, immediately asked, "Old concubine, where is the Empress Dowager?" Old concubine Xian spoke nervously and her voice was unstable. Old concubine Xian was just a woman. She thought about how her son was being held by another woman when he became the emperor. She also wanted this kind of glory, but now she was so embarrassed that she was sweating all over. She felt like she was sitting on pins and needles. "The Empress Dowager is not feeling well and asked me to bring the child to court. Everyone please speak." Old concubine Xian said with a stiff smile. The officials looked at each other. The eunuch shouted, "If you have something to say, please speak. If not, the court is dismissed." Finally, Scholar Gu stood up and said, "Old concubine, the Rong tribe has been harassing the border of the Zhou dynasty. The weather is getting colder and they will cross the border into the Zhou dynasty to rob. These barbarians didn't know how to produce themselves. They only knew how to rob. The army stationed at the border needs food, but the national treasury is empty. We can't make up our minds." Scholar Gu said. Among the 3 regents, Scholar Gu stood up to speak. The other 2 regents stood there calmly. Scholar Gu was the weakest among the 3 regents. Old concubine Xian was speechless. This old concubine Xian was completely dumbfounded. What did she know? When she heard about fighting, old concubine Xian was frightened. She thought for a while and said, "What's the result of your discussion?" There was no money in the national treasury. What was the point of asking her? Old concubine Xian felt that she shouldn't have come. This kind of thing should be left to the Empress Dowager. The officials were silent and looked at old concubine Xian. Old concubine Xian's butt was numb. She also held the child and her arms were sore. She couldn't hand the child over to the maid beside her. She felt so bad. She didn't feel so good. Old concubine Xian's mouth twitched. The eunuch next to her saw that the atmosphere was too awkward and couldn't help shouting, "If you have something to say, please speak. If not, the court is dismissed." Everyone was speechless. Didn't he say it already? Old concubine Xian was very hungry. With so many people looking at her, she was under a lot of pressure. We'll discuss this matter again. In the court. Old concubine Xian stood up. Her buttocks were numb from sitting. There were several times when the child frowned in his sleep. Old concubine Xian was afraid that the child would wake up and make a fuss. If that happened, the situation would be very awkward. When old concubine Xian left, she almost stepped on her long skirt. After leaving the palace, she hurriedly passed the child to the person beside her and shook her arms. She really couldn't take it anymore. When she arrived at Ning Shu's palace, she found that Ning Shu was leisurely eating breakfast. The Empress Dowager was really too leisurely for her embarrassment. Ning Shu drank the porridge and asked the pale-faced old concubine Xian, "Do you want to eat?" "Thank you, Empress Dowager." Old concubine Xian was indeed hungry and had something to say to Ning Shu. The palace maid added more bowls and chopsticks. Old concubine Xian asked Ning Shu, "Do you usually read the memorials?" "I won't. The three regents will talk about the important matters during the morning court session," Ning Shu said calmly. The danger was that the memorials to impeach the three regents would not be sent out. They might even be used to eliminate the dissidents. Ning Shu wanted to read the memorials, but the Empress Dowager was only there to take care of the child. Old concubine Xian felt a little happier. Otherwise, she would have thought that the Empress Dowager deliberately did not tell her that there would be such a thing in the court session today. What happened? Ning Shu used a handkerchief to wipe his mouth, rinsed his mouth, and spat into the spittoon. It's said that the barbarians have some friction with the border. The weather is cold and the border needs food. However, the treasury is empty. Old concubine Xian said sadly. Even if they wanted money, they couldn't take it out. This was an unsolvable problem. Ning Shu only said, "If you can't take it out, there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do." Old concubine Xian rubbed her forehead. "Empress Dowager, I don't feel well. I can't continue the court session tomorrow." She didn't want to be involved in this kind of thing. It was a matter of national importance. Old concubine Xian felt that she couldn't bear this kind of pressure. If she made a wrong decision, she would be scolded by the whole nation. She should raise her daughter in the harem and raise her daughter to be favored by the heavens. She only had one daughter, the emperor's younger sister. She hoped that she could have a happy life in the future. Ning Shu said calmly, "You can't go for a day?" "Empress Dowager, you cancelled me." "I know what I'm worth," old concubine Xian said unnaturally. Ning Shu smiled and said, "I'll have to trouble you during this period of time. I might be too tired and need to rest." Old concubine Xian was speechless. "Take it as helping me." Old concubine Xian heard Ning Shu's words and didn't insist on refusing. Old concubine Xian felt that Ning Shu wanted to avoid this matter. He would wait until this matter was solved before he went to court. Then he would throw this matter into her hands. Old concubine Xian felt that the Empress Dowager Regent was a hot potato. Chapter 1932. The concubines in the harem weren't that pitiful. At most, they would be widowed and live a life of luxury. At most, they would be lonely and cold. It was much better than the situation of ordinary people who didn't have enough to eat. Fu Min's expression was conflicted. Finally, she took out the imperial edict and explained, "This concubine has never thought of letting the imperial edict see the light of day." Ning Shu took the imperial edict and opened it. Ao Tianzi had conferred Fu Min the title of Empress Dowager. Empress Dowager? She was one generation above the Empress Dowager. Ning Shu closed the imperial edict and returned it to Fu Min. "It's just the title of Empress Dowager. Aijia doesn't care." "Thank you, Empress Dowager." This concubine has never thought of being Empress Dowager. There was no difference at all. Empress Dowager was just a title. It couldn't bring Fu Min anything. Moreover, Ao Tianzi was already dead. Other than the imperial edict, is there anything else? Ning Shu looked at Fu Min and repeated, "Is there anything else?" There was also the secret guard organization. But Fu Min shook her head. Is that so? Then Aijia will say it directly. The late emperor had secret guards. But after the late emperor passed away, the secret guards were nowhere to be found. Do you know? Ning Shu said indifferently, this organization is used by the imperial court to control the sources of information. I know the late emperor gave it to you. Please give it to the emperor. As the emperor, he can't be deaf and blind, unable to see or hear anything. Fu Min bit her lip. Her expression was conflicted. This was given to her by the late emperor to protect her. Ning Shu said again, Aijia has no ill intentions towards you. I don't want you to lose your life in vain. Aijia can leave a few secret guards to protect you. I know what you are worried about. Fu Min sighed. She didn't dare to fight with Ning Shu. Ning Shu was now the Empress Dowager. Fu Min took out a black jade pendant from her collar. Is this? Ning Shu took the jade pendant that still had Fu Min's body temperature and smiled slightly. Thank you. Don't worry, Aijia will protect you. Moreover, you don't have much enmity with the people in the harem, so you don't have to worry about them doing anything to you. Thank you, Empress Dowager. It could be said that the Empress Dowager had already cleaned out all the things the previous emperor had given her. Ning Shu put away the jade pendant and said, as for the shadow guards outside the hall, let them protect you. Fu Min was surprised that the other party knew about the existence of shadow guards. Fu Min's impression of Ning Shu was very deep and unfathomable. It was a little frightening. Ning Shu took the secret guard organization and locked the jade pendant in a box. When the little emperor wanted to take power, he would give this thing to the little emperor. In the future, he would be able to enjoy the rest of his life. In any case, having a bargaining chip in hand was always a good thing. Old concubine Xian really didn't want to go to court anymore. She directly told Ning Shu that her body couldn't take it anymore. Anyway, she was looking for an excuse not to go to court. Ning Shu didn't say anything. When these people saw that others seemed to be sitting high on the dragon throne, they were envious and jealous. She could sit there until she vomited. The next day, Ning Shu got up in the middle of the night to do it. Then he carried the child to court. Now the child could sit and crawl. But because court was very early, he was basically sleeping. He could only be carried like this. Old concubine Xian didn't have as much strength as Ning Shu. She carried the child like this for more than 2 hours. Now old concubine Xian's arms were sore. If you have something to report, the court is dismissed, the eunuch shouted. Scholar Gu stood up again and said, Old concubine Xian, the Rong tribe has been harassing the border of the Zhou dynasty. The weather is getting colder. These Rong tribe will cross the border and enter the Zhou dynasty to plunder. Now the army stationed at the border needs food, but the national treasury is empty. We can't make up our minds. Ning Shu expressionlessly replied with an "oh" and asked, Do you need grain or silver for the army rations? Silver, and the soldiers' pay need silver, Scholar Gu said. Ning Shu's mouth twitched. He said lightly, That's because we don't lack food. If we really lack food, we should ask for food, not silver. There were more or less people who embezzled the soldiers' pay at the border. Many ruffians asked the imperial court for money every day. Now that the weather is cold, the soldiers need cotton clothes to keep warm. These all need money, Cabinet Elderly said. Oh, Ning Shu replied. Then, have you thought of any countermeasures? The soldiers' pay has to be distributed, Princely said. The army stationed at the border is related to the Zhou dynasty's border. Oh, then distribute it. Ning Shu's expression was cold. But the national treasury is empty, Princely said. If the national treasury is empty, it's useless to tell me. I can't make silver. The 3 regions are dealing with all kinds of things, but nothing is solved. Then you throw the problem to me. What do I need you for? I'll just be the regent and empress dowager, Ning Shu said coldly. We are incompetent. The 3 regents knelt down. All the court officials knelt down. Ning Shu chuckled in his heart. He lowered his head and looked at the sleeping Ao Yong. He wondered who the father of this child was. He wondered if there was one or several secret guards who helped Ao Tian's concubine. Ning Shu ignored the court officials kneeling below and started to think. We are incompetent. Please forgive us, Empress Dowager. The court officials wailed again. Ning Shu said, Forgive us. Get up. It concerns the safety of the border. I still dare to report that the soldiers' pay should be distributed. Otherwise, the Rong tribe will kill and rob the border again, Prince Li said. Ning Shu just said, the border generals are still incompetent. If it was the old Ning Shu, if they dared to stretch out their claws, he would directly chop off their claws and beat them until they were scared. But the Rong tribe was a nomadic tribe. Especially in winter, there was not enough food. If they encountered cattle and sheep, it would be a matter of extinction. Hunger and survival instinct would make these people desperate. In order to fill their stomachs and survive, they would do anything. Ning Shu just said, it will be the emperor's first birthday soon. The court officials were speechless. So, how could a child's birthday be related to the border matters? Empress Dowager. Prince Li said helplessly. Ning Shu said, all of you have to prepare generous gifts and present a birthday gift that can satisfy the emperor. Scholar Gu was so anxious that his face was sweating. The Empress Dowager was too unreliable. She was asking for a birthday gift for the emperor in the court. If the border matters couldn't be solved, the people at the border would be the unlucky ones. Empress Dowager, this matter can't be delayed any longer. If it is delayed, it will cause a mutiny in the military camp. Scholar Gu bowed and said. Scholar Gu was really anxious. Because he was a scholar from a poor family, he knew more about the hardships of the people. This book came from XHTML. Chapter 1933. Ning Shu almost knew what was going on with the border army. The emperor was far away, and many ruffians bullied the people even more than the Rong tribe. Bullying their own people and fighting among themselves was what people were best at. When some soldiers fought with the Rong tribe, they were defeated. The national treasury was empty, and they had to raise money to support these people. We don't have money. Since the Rong tribe can break the city wall and rob every time, it's better to exchange something with them than to let them rob. We can give them food, tea, and silk, but the Rong tribe must also give us something of equal value. It was boring to kill people in a war. If they wanted to fight, they should fight an economic war. If they wanted something, they could exchange it with iron ore and coal mines. It was difficult to train a person to be excellent, but it was easy to raise a person to be useless. They could give him whatever he wanted. What they used to need to exchange with their lives could now be exchanged with their own things, such as tea, silk, exquisite ceramics, and the things they could enjoy in a rich country. If they were disobedient, economic sanctions would be directly imposed. Empress Dowager, do you mean to open trade with the Rong tribe? Scholar Gu immediately understood what Ning Shu meant. He shook his head and said, Empress Dowager, you can't do that. If you open the door to the merchants, they will value profits more than the country. You can't do that. Among the scholars, farmers, businessmen were at the bottom, and their status was not very high. Ning Shu said lightly, of course, if you are from the imperial court, in fact, the emperor's birthday gift is very simple. That is, to build a trading station on the border. Of course, you will pay for it. Since the border army has nothing to do, let's fight the trade war. We will know whether it works or not after trying it. Besides, the people on the border can't afford to be destroyed. Soldiers are also people. Let's reduce the loss as much as possible. Ning Shu said very straightforwardly, anyway, there is no money in the national treasury. No matter how frugal the harem is, they can save the soldiers' pay. Ning Shu said with a smile, if we can build a trading station, when the emperor grows up and knows that it is your intention, he will be very touched. No matter whether it succeeds or not, there is nothing worse than the current situation. The courtiers, did he want them to pay for it? Birthday gift? A trading post required a lot of money, and it seemed that the Empress Dowager wanted to do something big. But who would go to the border to supervise? Those border guards were not to be trifled with, and they might not be able to return. Empress Dowager, I'm afraid that a trading station has been established, but it may be very chaotic. The prices of things are chaotic. The Rong tribe is uncivilized and rude. When the time comes, people's lives can't be guaranteed. Prince Li directly pointed out the hidden dangers within. Ning Shu said, therefore, I would like to ask everyone to come up with a specific constitution, price, and trade war laws. As for the issue of security, isn't there a border army stationed there? Nyang Nyang, this might not work. Prince Li was very helpless. Although the trading post sounded good, it was very difficult to implement. Ning Shu said with a smile, "Your Majesty is looking forward to the birthday gift. It has to be built quickly. Now the Rong tribe is ready to move. It must be built before winter." The courtiers were very unhappy to have them contribute money and effort. Ning Shu said, "How about this? I will take out my salary over the years and some rare jewelry. The sisters in the harem will also add bricks and tiles for the trading post." Scholar Gu bowed and said, "We accept the decree, but we don't have much family property. Do it according to your own ability. Just be a part of it." Ning Shu said, "Some princes, dukes, and ministers lived very comfortably. They had a lot of property and only knew how to ask people for money. I hope you can come up with a constitution soon. As far as I know, these places still have resources, especially the river under the Tianshan mountain. There are high-quality jade stones in it. After being polished by the flowing water, the high mountains and flowing water become jade stones. Those high mountains covered in snow. I hope that one day, these places will be included in the territory of the Great Zhou." Ning Shu stood up and said loudly, "Even the Rong tribe has to bow down to the Great Zhou." Ning Shu spoke passionately. The courtiers below knelt down. They were worried. They were reluctant to take out their money. It was like a knife cutting into their hearts. After the court session ended, Ning Shu quickly handed the child to Xie. He shook his arms. The child was getting heavier. It would be a bit tiring to carry him in the future. Ning Shu tidied up his treasury and took out the banknotes and some gold jewelry. The gold could be melted, but some jade stones could not. Ning Shu gathered the concubines in the harem and asked them to donate some money. There was really no mouse in the treasury. These concubines heard that it was a birthday gift for the little emperor and gave face. Some of them took out some. Fu Min gave more, a banknote worth 10,000 taels and some jewelry. These were all given to me by the late emperor. Since the treasury is tight, I will take them out. Fu Min said. Ning Shu nodded. "I thank you on behalf of the people at the border." Fu Min smiled shyly and then returned to her palace. She stayed in the palace all day and did not come out. It was probably because she had not recovered from the pain of losing her loved one. This matter was carried out in an orderly manner. The courtiers chipped in money. The aristocratic families donated more money. Adding on the donations from the harem, it was more or less enough to build a trading post. The problem was who was going to supervise. The environment at the border was bad. If there was a conflict with the army, it was possible that they would not be able to return. So who was going? When Ning Shu asked who was going, there was complete silence. Fine, Ning Shu really wanted to go, but it was impossible. There was no world source at this time. There was definitely no world source in the palace. The atmosphere suddenly became quiet. The courtiers all lowered their heads. It was bad enough that they had to endure the pain of donating money, but now they had to do such a dangerous thing. The journey was long and they would not be able to return for a year. In the end, Scholar Gu stood up and said, "I am willing to go to the border." Scholar Gu was the weakest of the three. He had no aristocratic family to rely on. In order to convince the people, he had to do something. Moreover, the treasury could not take out any money. This method was not good. Scholar Gu felt that the Empress Dowager wanted to shift the responsibility. The imperial court did not spend much money and yet they had to do such a big project. Don't make it too complicated. It can shelter you from the wind and rain. It can hold many stalls. In fact, it is not much different from a market. Ning Shu said directly, "I will send a team of people to protect you and give you a death exemption medallion. If you encounter a special situation, act first and report later. Gather more carpenters from the civilian population. The army can be used too. Soldiers trained for 1,000 days to be used in an hour. Soldiers who could kill enemies with a spear and plant rice in the fields were the best soldiers of the country." "I understand. I will definitely accomplish my mission." Scholar Gu said. G_Cup Female Idols First Video_V valiantly wins the championship. Watch online. Please follow the official WeChat account. Female May 222, press for 3 seconds to copy. Chapter 1934. You are an assistant minister of the Great Zhou dynasty. You have worked hard and contributed greatly. You must take care of yourself. I and the emperor will only recognize you 3 as assistant ministers. Ning Shu instructed Scholar Gu. Ning Shu sent a group of people to follow Scholar Gu to protect the weak official Scholar Gu. He then asked, "Is there any family's younger generation who wants to go out to gain experience and bring a group of people to the border to take a look?" Scholar Gu was scared to death. He quickly bowed to Ning Shu and said, "Empress Dowager, the situation at the border is complicated. If I have to take care of all the young masters, I'm afraid I can't take care of them." Scholar Gu didn't have a good impression of the second generation of these aristocratic family officials. They were so arrogant and bossy. If something were to happen to them, that would be called a scam. It was because of the complexity of the border that Ning Shu wanted to let the various families get involved and restrain each other, so that Scholar Gu would be safer. No one would focus their attention on Scholar Gu. But seeing how disgusted Scholar Gu was, she gave up. "I'm just a woman. There are some things that I don't understand. Scholar Gu, please don't take it to heart." When Scholar Gu left, Ning Shu saw him off and said, "Scholar Gu, you can enjoy the scenery beyond the Great Wall. Perhaps it is not suitable for crops, but the resources are definitely not good. When the time comes, Scholar Gu will publish a book that will be famous through the ages." Scholar Gu took the imperial edict from Ning Shu's hands, cupped his hands, and got into the carriage. The team had everything they needed, from dry rations to herbs. Everything had to be taken into consideration when traveling. Ning Shu let out a long sigh. Finally, he didn't ask for military funds. As for the cotton-padded clothes, he could use the scraps of money to make them and send them to the border. It was likely that there were many generals at the border who filled their pockets, but this kind of thing was beyond their reach, so they were helpless. However, the ordinary soldiers did not receive much pay. He had killed the enemy and bled, but in the end, his money had been deducted. These things could only be done slowly. Besides, there was no fish in clear water. Greed was fine, but there had to be a limit. The soldiers under his command were pitiful and sinful, but in the end, he had to eat until he was fat. Forget it, there was no need to worry about it. During court sessions, Ning Shu was like a puppet sitting on the throne. He coaxed the children and listened to the court officials quarrel. In the end, he would say that there was a regent to take care of the ministers. If he didn't solve the problem, why would the regent come? In any case, Ning Shu was trying to push the blame to someone else. What's the point of asking me about everything? Ao Yong could sit and crawl now. He was very lively and cute. The father of the child had not appeared yet, and there were no rumors on the streets that the child was not Ao Tianzi's biological son. However, this was a hidden danger. Who knew when it would erupt and even destroy the entire harem? Ning Shu took the jade pendant and summoned the head of the secret guards. It was a dull and sinister man. When he saw the jade pendant in Ning Shu's hand, he knelt down on one knee. Ning Fan pondered over what to say. He couldn't just say it out loud. That wasn't good. Ning Shu said, "This jade pendant was given to me by Min Jiaoyi. You can ask Min Jiaoyi about this." The late emperor established this organization to monitor the affairs of the world. Therefore, please continue to serve the royal family. Got it. The head of the secret guards said sinisterly. He was full of hostility. At first glance, it was obvious that he was a person who had killed people. Ning Shu felt that the head of the secret guards must know Ao Yong's background. After all, it was the secret guards who took care of the harem, but he didn't know which secret guard it was. Could it be the person in front of him? Ask directly? Ning Shu felt that it was necessary for him to master a secret that could see through other people's thoughts. Even if he couldn't, he had to learn hypnosis. The sinister secret guard grinned. When he smiled, it was a fake smile. He said, "I will definitely assist the emperor well." Ning Shu narrowed his eyes slightly. "I can't guarantee your loyalty. After all, you are the late emperor's man. Damn it. Could it be that this guy had defiled the harem except for Fu Min, loyal to the imperial family? The secret guard said, this organization was taken over by the successor of the imperial family. It seemed that Ao Tianzi had also taken over this shady organization from his ancestors. But who exactly took care of the harem's concubines? Ning Shu's mouth twitched. If he didn't kill him, he would kill him. Otherwise, it would be difficult to guarantee that such a large secret guard organization wouldn't leak any information. If this matter was spread out, the imperial family and the entire aristocratic circle would become a laughingstock. It was estimated that thousands of years later, they would be treated as a joke. This kind of affair deep in the palace was the most popular gossip of the common people. Ning Shu silently cursed in his heart. Then I ask you to send some people to protect Scholar Gu. If something happened to Scholar Gu, the tripartite balance of power would be gone. Can I trust you? Ning Shu looked at the expressionless secret guard and asked. Loyal to the emperor. The secret guard said again. Go. Ning Shu waved his hand. Yes. The secret guard disappeared in a flash. Take one step at a time. Before Ao Yong grew up and became an adult, this kind of situation had to be maintained. Wait until Ao Yong grew up. Even if Ao Yong knew his background, he would suppress this matter for his own life and the throne. In short, there were many restrictions, and this organization had a lot of information. It would be a pity to destroy it. More importantly, Ning Shu didn't know about some secret strongholds at all. She could only use this jade pendant to command the secret guards. Ao Tianzi died before his ambition was realized. He was directly killed by Ning Shu. Ning Shu regretted that she couldn't find the world's origin in this world. And she didn't have a way to go out and find it. If she searched for something with great fanfare, it would give people an excuse. How could ordinary people know about the world's origin? She was mentally tired. Scholar Gu went to the border to supervise the work. Elder Li Wangye, and the officials of the imperial court worked out specific rules and regulations for the trading post. There was also the issue of the price. Li Wangye meant that the royal family was in control of the trading post. If ordinary businessmen were allowed to expand, it would be bad for the country. Maybe the businessmen would want to make more money for their own pocket and do something harmful to the country. No matter what industry, the top was unshakable. Besides, money made the world go round. Li Wangye did this to protect the Ao family. Ning Shu nodded and gave a specific rule. Ning Shu was worried about the affairs of the imperial court. These concubines in the imperial harem gathered one by one. They would hold a flower exhibition, get together to embroider, gossip about various things, or talk about the famous young men outside the palace walls and so on. Ning Shu was speechless. Fuck, life is really fucking good. It took half a year for the trading post to be completed. The trading post was very big. Because the imperial court had issued a decree, they agreed to trade with the Rong tribe and the surrounding tribes. The premise was that they could offer something of the same value, such as cattle, sheep, jade and agate. /BK. Chapter 1935. 1 Second Little Shawnette. Org. A wonderful novel for free. Even things like horses could be traded. However, ordinary people could not exchange for horses. They had to go to a designated place to exchange for them. These horses were used as war resources. The ordinary people at the border were frightened by the Rong tribe. Even if the imperial court decreed that they could trade with the Rong tribe, they did not dare to. Later, some bold people slowly traded with the Rong tribe. They found that some tea leaves of poor quality, or the extra rice at home, or cloth at home could be exchanged for some jade and some fox fur. When these things changed hands, they could get several times the profit. As a result, more and more people came to trade, and the local merchants took the lead in joining the trade. It would be a waste not to take advantage of this. As the saying goes, all businessmen are evil. Although the Rong tribe people were tall and strong, and the men who pulled the horses were powerful and majestic, they could not compete with these businessmen. There were often cases of cheating and fighting, but they were all suppressed by the border army. In fact, the trading post had not been repaired yet. These people began to trade in the open next to the trading post. When Scholar Gu saw the prosperous trading post, he was secretly delighted. Compared with the previous war deaths and the huge annual expenditure, this was a relatively small friction. This could be considered a great contribution. Moreover, the imperial court would collect taxes on these transactions. When the time came, the national treasury would be abundant, and the living conditions of the people would be better. He hoped that the ordinary people could eat and wear well. Scholar Gu's family was not in a good situation. His mother sewed for others for him. Scholar Gu was not sure whether the Empress Dowager did not want to pay the soldiers or let the aristocrats spend money to celebrate the emperor's birthday. Scholar Gu looked at a Rong tribesman wearing animal fur and holding a ceramic vase in his hand and praised it. The Rong tribesman was tall and powerful. At first glance, one could tell that he was a rough man. However, he praised the delicate ceramic vase with an intoxicated look. It was strange no matter how one looked at it. These things couldn't be made by the barbarians. For these barbarians, having such things was like keeping up with the trend. If the trading post was successful, more people would come here, and they would need a place to stay. At that time, there would be all kinds of wine shops and fireworks. Scholar Gu was also a smart person. He quickly circled the land around the trading post. This was the land of the imperial court. If they wanted to build on it, they would have to ask the imperial court. When Scholar Gu returned to the imperial court, almost no one could recognize that he was the regent, Scholar Gu. He had lost a lot of weight. He was dark and skinny, just like someone who came out of a refugee camp. However, Scholar Gu's eyes were very bright. He reported to Ning Shu about the trading station. There were already people trading at the trading station, and those who had foresight were the first to pay and stand at the trading station. Scholar Gu said that salt should not be traded in large quantities. Scholar Gu saw some people secretly trading salt at the border. There wasn't a lot of it. It should be the common people's own salt. They were exchanging it for some jade and fur to make a profit. However, this kind of thing seemed to be the most popular thing in the Rong tribe and the surrounding small tribes. Scholar Gu also suggested that these merchants must have a certificate and must not smuggle at will. Ordinary people must not participate in the transactions and must pay a heavy tax. The higher the tax, the more ordinary people would be scared away. If everyone was opportunistic, who would plant crops? Who would raise silkworms and weave cloth? Farmers and craftsmen were the foundation of a nation, especially now that it was the age of agriculture. The bubble economy would burst at the first touch. Empty talk would harm the country. Ning Shu looked at the dark Scholar Gu in surprise. This guy was quite capable. Ning Shu nodded. Let's do as Scholar Gu said. Each class does their own thing. Another advantage of the trading post was that the surrounding small tribes had adapted to the trading post. If economic sanctions were imposed one day, it would be very effective. Ao Yang's first birthday party was quite grand. She was crawling around on the dragon throne, babbling and drooling. She had done what she needed to do. It was probably time for her to leave this world. He sighed again. The origin of the world. He found 2 world origins in the last world, but they were not mature. It was not certain whether it was true or not. He didn't know how it was hatching. Mission completed. Do you want to leave the mission world? 2333's voice sounded in Ning Shu's mind. Ning Shu felt that he hadn't heard 2333's voice in a long time. Now, they basically didn't communicate during missions. In the past, when Ning Shu was 250 and hadn't started working, the system would still say something. Now, it basically didn't speak. With 2333's silence, Ning Shu felt that 2333 was preparing some big move. 2333, damn, what do you want me to do? I'll send you to your death, okay? Ning Shu laughed. Do whatever you want. I'm a tolerant person. Leave this world. Ning Shu's head shook, and she appeared in the system space. She lay down on the sofa. Oh my God, I'm so tired that I'm about to cry. She had to pretend to be nice to people. Most importantly, no one could blame her for Ao Tian's death. She didn't kill the king, and the person who entrusted her didn't kill the king. I just don't know if Tan Yusin will blame me. After all, I was blinded by hatred. When I woke up, I went back to look. Damn, I don't have a husband anymore. Ning Shu was afraid of encountering such a situation. He felt that it was a thankless task. Ning Shu added some agarwood from the incense burner. Smelling the agarwood, he calmed down and began to absorb the pure soul energy. Ning Shu opened his eyes and looked at his soul. It was bouncy and smooth to the touch, like jelly. His soul was stronger. Ning Shu was very happy. Every bit of strength was accumulating and taking root. Maybe when he looked back, he would have grown into a towering tree. Ning Shu opened the status panel. Name, Ning Shu. Age, 27 level, Super Mission Taker Points card, 157, 10 million points for 1 point card. Soul points, 8 health points, 7 wisdom, 10 luck, 11 charm, 5 spiritual power, 8 martial strength, 9 aptitude, 7 faith, 114080 merit, 592750 soul strength, 49 authorization ticket, none law comprehended, water law pure heart, none tools, calm halo, heart calming pill, faith halo, amulet 4, upgraded amulet 2 honorary titles, war god empress, selfless ancestor skills, 5th ring shooting technique, intermediate close combat technique, intermediate martial arts, intermediate poison technique, beginner business, management knowledge, beginner code programming, beginner lawyer skill, sage ghost catching skill, beginner cooking skill, intermediate embroidery skill. Halo, mother of the world, queen's blessing, sister model worker, Qinshi's blessing, leader halo, grass blessing, lifelong friend, Miao Miao Miao's blessing. Healer, Zhu Su Nyang's blessing, founding woman, Chen Ermiai's blessing, beauty-in-law, Chen Ning's blessing, bane of the blood clan, Jasmine's blessing, transcending race communication, Bai Sanyang's blessing, brave heart, Wang Ying's blessing. Completed Tan Yusin's wish, deal with Ao Tianza. Mission completion rate, 100%. Mission reward, 10 points card, 8 attribute points, 70% soul strength, 5800 faith, including previous world's accumulation, 2000 merit. A bold video of a child with a huge chest dripping with fragrant perspiration and large balls about to overflow. Please follow the WeChat public number EI New May 222, long press for 3 seconds to copy. Chapter 1936. 70% of the power of the soul, 2000 merit points. Ning Shu looked at the merit points this time. It was actually 2,000 points. No matter what he did to get 2,000 points, since it was given to him, he had to take it. Even if it was a snack, 2,000 merit points would take a long time to eat. Wastrel, can you hold back your desire for good food and give me the merit points? 2,333 asked. Ning Shu nodded. What do you want the merit points for? You have to let me know about the good things so that we can have fun. Merit points can build a golden body of merit, but you are a quest taker. You can't put too much merit points on yourself. If you have too much merit points, you will be rejected by the plane. It will disturb the plane and make the quest difficult. 2333 said. Look at the other quest takers. Which one of them put their merit points all over their body? Ning Shu said, Oh, you want to make a golden body of merit? No, I just feel that it is a waste to use merit points to eat snacks. 2333 said. I am rich now. Please call me Sister Hao. Ning Shu said proudly. 2333 changed the topic. There is a person called Ronghua who sent you a message. Ronghua? Isn't that the person behind the auction house? Oh, what did he say? Ning Shu asked casually. He said that he wants to meet you at the restaurant. 2333 said. He is probably at the restaurant now. Oh, I will go there later. Ning Shu set one of his attribute points. When he went to meet, he had to be prepared. Name, Ning Shu. Age, 27 level, Super Quest Taker Points card, 157, 10 million points for 1 point card. Soul, 8 plus 1 life, 7 plus 1 wisdom, 10 plus 1 luck, 11 plus 1 charm, 5 plus 1 spirit, 8 plus 1 force, 9 plus 1 aptitude, 7 plus 1 faith, 114080 plus 5800 merit, 592,750 plus 2000 soul strength, 49 plus 8 authority ticket, none law comprehended, water rule pure heart, none items, calm aura, calming pill, faith aura, amulet 4, upgraded amulet plus 2 honorary titles, goddess of war, selfless ancestor skills, 5th ring shooting technique, level close combat technique, minor achievement in peerless martial arts, level poison technique, beginner, business management knowledge, beginner code programming, beginner lawyer skill, sage ghost catching skill, beginner cooking skill, level embroidery skill. Aura, mother of the world, queen's blessing, sister model worker, Chinshi's blessing, leader aura, grass blessing, lifelong best friend, Meow Meow Meow's blessing. Healer of the dying, Zhu Su Nyang's blessing, founding woman, Chen Ermiai's blessing, beauty-in-law, Chen Ning's blessing, bane of the blood clan, Jasmine's blessing, communication between races, by San Yang's blessing, heart of the brave, Wang Ying's blessing. Speaking of which, when was Mei Ziqing going to return the ticket to her? What if she encountered something that she couldn't solve on her own? Ning Shu quickly opened the chat system and sent a message to Mei Ziqing. Where's my authorization ticket? What authorization ticket? Mei Ziqing replied, Oh, I remember now. I don't have an authorization ticket at the moment. I will return it to you as soon as possible. If you don't believe me, I can send you my status panel. Authorization tickets are not easy to obtain. Can I say that I don't have one? Ning Shu was speechless. Ning Shu deeply suspected that his authorization ticket was going to be wasted. If there was no other way, he could look at the store to see if there were any authorization tickets and buy one for himself. Now, he had to go settle the matter of the auction house. Let's go to Water City. Ning Shu said indifferently. Let the storm come even fiercer. He wanted to see what kind of person this young noble Ronghua was. When Ning Shu arrived at the restaurant, the hall was full. Moreover, they were all shop owners of Water City. Si Tian and Shu Bai sat opposite each other drinking tea. Occasionally, they would look at the people near the window. Young Noble was a slightly elegant title. This young noble Ronghua gave people a feeling of femininity. The way he looked at people didn't have good intentions. Although he was handsome, he had a feminine temperament. Young noble Ronghua gave people a bad feeling. He was like a poisonous snake. Ning Shu walked into the restaurant. Immediately, countless eyes shot towards him. For a moment, Ning Shu became the focus of attention. Ning Shu looked around the hall and even saw Hongyu. Hongyu? It seemed that this Hongyu was related to this young noble Ronghua. Everyone stood up. Ning Shu cupped his hands. Greetings, city lord. Ning Shu nodded. He saw a man near the window. It seemed to be young noble Ronghua. Young noble Ronghua turned his head and met Ning Shu's eyes. His eyes were somewhat malicious. Being stared at by him felt like he was confronting a snake. He's a ruthless character, Ning Shu thought. Young noble Ronghua looked at the drop-shaped law mark between Ning Shu's eyebrows and confirmed Ning Shu's identity. Young noble Ronghua didn't invite Ning Shu. Ning Shu just stood there. Si Tian stood up and said, City Lord, Rong Si Tian will introduce you to young noble Ronghua. Young noble Ronghua rarely comes here. It's normal that you don't know him. Ning Shu thought. Young noble Ronghua walked over and said with a polite smile, I've heard a lot about you. Young noble Ronghua raised his eyes and looked at Ning Shu. He put down the teacup in his hand and said, I haven't been here for a long time. I didn't expect you to change here. City Lord, please sit down. Ning Shu thanked him and sat opposite to young noble Ronghua. Young noble Ronghua looked at Ning Shu and asked the waiter to prepare some good tea and snacks. I couldn't get in touch with you before. Young noble Ronghua made a please gesture. Ning Shu took a sip of tea and said, I was doing a task. I didn't know you were waiting for me until I came back. He couldn't have come to see you without completing the task, right? There was no smile on young noble Ronghua's face. There was a kind of gloomy feeling. Especially when he looked at people, it gave people goosebumps. It was estimated that this person was a dark magician. Why are you looking for me? Ning Shu asked while drinking tea. Everyone in the restaurant was staring at Ning Shu and young noble Ronghua. Young noble Ronghua said, "I came for the auction. It's them who are not sensible." Ning Shu smiled faintly. The water droplets on her forehead glowed with a soft luster, making Ning Shu smile like this. It was as if she was holding a flower and smiling. "Speaking of this matter, it's my fault. I'm not very proficient in controlling the law." Since the other side was being polite, Ning Shu was also being polite. "Then when will the city lord be able to completely master the law?" Young noble Ronghua slightly frowned. He had never seen anyone who directly said that they were not good enough. Of course, it was just an excuse. She just didn't want to open the barrier. Judging from her temperament, this woman was not very fierce, but he didn't expect her to be so harsh. Her gentle and peaceful temperament should be the temperament given by the law of water. But she was very tough. /BK. Chapter 1937. Wonderful novel to read at any time. Mobile users please visit. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor, Endless Fantasy Translation. Young Master Ronghua was not satisfied with Ning Shu's explanation, and everyone knew the reason. It's reasonable to say that those who are chosen by the law will not have bad qualifications. Why can't they even solve a barrier? Of course, it was a slap in the face to Ning Shu, saying that Ning Shu was incompetent in Water City. Ning Shu narrowed her eyes slightly. She didn't know who this young Master Ronghua was. She heard that he was quite powerful, but it was related to Ning Shu's interests. Ning Shu couldn't back down. Ning Shu still had a smile on her face. "It can be solved, but when I was reinforcing the city's enchantment, the two enchantments got entangled. So, I'm afraid that if I remove the enchantment around the auction house, the entire Water City will suffer. I'm incompetent, I don't have a way." Young Master Ronghua's eyebrows became more gloomy, and his voice was somewhat feminine and low. "So the city lord means to close the auction house permanently? How can it be closed permanently? When I'm proficient in the operation, I can solve the auction house's problem. Besides, what good will it do me if the auction house is closed? It will also reduce my taxes." Ning Shu explained. In essence, this matter was not good for Ning Shu. Young Master Ronghua stared at Ning Shu, but Ning Shu still smiled reservedly. "It's useless to look at me, I'm not familiar with the operation." Ning Shu picked up the teacup and drank some water. "If you don't mention the loss, I won't let it go." It was obvious that the auction house was unfair in this matter. They didn't collect too much. According to the rules, it was still within her jurisdiction. Protecting this city, even if there was no merit, there was still hard work. Why did they bully her? Moreover, the tax was simply a drop in the bucket for the auction house's income, so they shouldn't be greedy. Unfair. Young Master Ronghua picked up the teacup and slowly took a sip of tea, frowning. He thought that his appearance would make the other party give him face and directly open the barrier of the auction house. After all, this was the city of water, and it was not a good idea to use force. Could it be that a newborn calf was not afraid of a tiger, so it was not afraid of him at all? Was it because he was powerful and fearless, or was it because he had never heard of him? The situation was in a deadlock. Ning Shu put down the teacup and said with a smile, "Don't worry. When I'm proficient in the operation, I will solve the matter of the auction house as soon as possible. Don't worry, child Ronghua." Young Master Ronghua certainly understood the meaning behind Ning Shu's words. Ning Shu didn't want to let him go. A city lord of Water City couldn't even handle the water enchantment of his own city. How could he be a city lord? Young Master Ronghua's expression was a bit gloomy, staring at Ning Shu like a viper. "If it's really so difficult, you can give up the law of water imprint and let someone with the ability inherit it, instead of evading it like this. I know what you're thinking, but if you do this, it will only show your incompetence." Ning Shu smiled and said, "Although I can't figure out why the law of water would choose such a stupid person like me, I will try my best to master the law completely. I will try to solve the matter of the auction house, but not now because I have to be responsible for the entire Water City. If something happens, I won't be able to bear the responsibility, so I can only let the auction house suffer." Young Master Ronghua narrowed his eyes. This feeling was like a viper spitting out its tongue. Water City Lord, let's both take a step back. It's not good for you to do this because in the eyes of others, the City Lord of Water City can do whatever he wants. At that time, who would dare to do business in Water City? Hong Yu, dressed in a red dress, fluttered over, looking incomparably beautiful. Ning Shu glanced at Hong Yu. Didn't he expel Hong Yu from Water City last time? How come she appeared again now? This was really interesting, wasn't it? Hong Yu apparently also remembered the last time she was expelled, and her face turned ugly. She said lightly, "It's better to let me be the peacemaker and let this matter go. The Water City Lord will remove the barrier, and young Master Ronghua will not pursue this matter." Ning Shu sneered. How could these words put the blame on him? It seemed that the auction house's actions had been erased, so why was it sealed? These people were well aware of it, but they all blurred it. Hong Yu appeared here not to be the peacemaker, but for the law imprint on her forehead. If she happened to be killed by young Master Ronghua, then the law imprint would belong to Hong Yu. What made Hong Yu so sure that she could get the law imprint? Could it be that young Master Ronghua disdained the law imprint and would give it to her? Ning Shu sighed, looking very helpless. I really don't have a way. Why don't you have a way? In your own city, you have absolute control. Here, you can do whatever you want. You can kill whoever you want. If you want to break the barrier, it's just a matter of raising your hand. Why do you have to keep making things difficult for the auction house? Hong Yu's voice was sweet, but her words were a bit scorching. If Ning Shu said that the entire auction house was sealed because of the lack of taxes, it would make Ning Shu seem petty. Ning Shu smiled. Then, miss, why do you keep making things difficult for me? I said that I can't do it. Maybe the law you have mastered is very simple, but mine is the law of water, which is ever-changing. It's normal for me to not be able to master it in a short time. Do you think you can break the barrier of the auction house with a raise of your hand? Please break the barrier. I believe that the auction house will be grateful to you, and young Master Ronghua will also thank you. Ning Shu didn't know if Hong Yu had anything to do with this young Master Ronghua, but since she was so eager to join in the fun, it most likely had something to do with her. More importantly, she wanted to take advantage of the situation. Taking advantage of the situation in her territory, Ning Shu's mouth twitched. Did she look easy to bully? Ning Shu looked at young Master Ronghua and said, I heard that the auction house seems to want to move out of the Water City. Did the people in the auction house tell me this news? Of course, this is my mistake. When the barrier is solved, the auction house will move out of the Water City. Ning Shu smiled, trying to avoid the topic. Young Master Ronghua looked at Ning Shu and said, So, City Lord doesn't want the auction house to be in the Water City? Of course not. I certainly hope that the auction house can be prosperous in the Water City so that I can collect more taxes. It's a mutually beneficial thing. The auction house said that they don't want it to be in the Water City. When this matter is solved, the auction house's business can still be prosperous. Ning Shu pretended to be polite to young Master Ronghua, while observing the expressions of the people in the hall of the restaurant to guess their feelings towards this young Master Ronghua. There must be people here who knew the Ronghua company. Shu Bai and Si Tian couldn't help but shake their heads, and their faces were a little dignified. Read the refreshing novel. Read the wonderful novel at any time. Mobile users, please visit the latest chapter of the canon Fodder female supporting characters Counterattack. This chapter is. If you think this chapter is good, please don't forget to recommend it to your friends on QQ Group and Weibo. A video of a child with a huge chest dripping with fragrant perspiration and large balls almost overflowing with courage is online. Please follow the WeChat public number EI New May 222, long press for 3 seconds to copy. Chapter 1938. 1 Second Little Shawnette. Org. A wonderful novel for free. Ning Shu was also tired of such a confrontation, so he asked young Master Ronghua, Are you the owner of the auction house? If he was the boss, then he didn't know the situation of his employees. If he embezzled the rent, it was very likely that he got it into his own pocket. I'm not the boss, at most, I'm just a shareholder. Young Master Ronghua said, Shareholder? Most likely he was the boss. Otherwise, why didn't the owner of the auction house appear, but a person who joined the gang came to make trouble? Ning Shu pointed at the teacup with his finger, smiled and said, "Since you are a shareholder, then do you know the operation of the auction house?" "I don't know." Young Master Ronghua said directly. Ning Shu directly said, "I'm the city lord of Water City. I'm responsible for protecting the safety of Water City and preventing the turbulent power of law from rushing into the city and threatening the safety of the city. Because of this, I can receive the taxes of Water City." Young Master Ronghua looked at Ning Shu. His eyes were as malicious as a poisonous snake. "So, did the people of the auction house not pay the tax, and you want to seal the auction house?" "They did." "Then why did you do that? Since the auction house can also generate tax for you, why did you do that?" "There is no reason." "City Lord, please give me an explanation." "No, I didn't. Because the auction house didn't pay my taxes, I wanted to seal the auction house, but I didn't expect to fail. It was connected to the entire city's enchantment, so I didn't dare to touch it." Ning Shu directly said that they didn't pay her any money, merit, and faith. Hong Yu frowned. "The tax can be discussed, but you directly sealed other people's shops. This is how arrogant you are. I have asked the auction house many times before, whether it is only a little tax, and the people of the auction house only pay a little." Ning Shu looked at the beautiful Hong Yu and said, "Don't pretend to be generous in front of me. If your city doesn't pay taxes or doesn't pay you enough, what will you do? You don't have the right to point fingers at me. Don't talk nonsense in front of me. What does this have to do with you? Didn't I already throw you out last time? How can you still have the nerve to come here? You want my law imprint, but I won't give it to you. If something happens to me one day, I will destroy this thing, and I won't leave it to you." Ning Shu smiled and said reservedly, "Come and snatch it." Did they really think that he was easy to bully? Hong Yu's face trembled as she coldly said, "Do you really think you're so great? Do you really think you can do whatever you want just because you have a law imprint?" "Yes, I can't do whatever I want, but I'll be happy if I can make you jealous." Ning Shu said indifferently, "If you want to watch the show, then stand aside and don't talk nonsense, or I will expel you." Hong Yu took a deep breath. Her chest was heaving up and down. She was flustered and exasperated, but she soon calmed down. "You seem to have more courage than I thought. A junior scolding a senior, you are very arrogant." Young Master Ronghua said as if he was spitting out his snake tongue. Ning Shu looked calm. "There is a senior who wants to snatch the things of the juniors, always thinking about the things of the juniors. This is an enemy. What's the point of talking about seniors and juniors? If someone wanted to snatch something, would he have to give it to them? Hong Yu wants to snatch my things and I want to protect my things. It is normal for us to oppose each other. Just like the auction house, they don't pay my taxes and treat me like a beggar. Why should I guard the safety of the auction house and watch the auction house make a lot of money in my place? I don't even get to drink the soup. What do I want? Tell me, what do you want?" Young Master Ronghua slightly narrowed his eyes and squeezed out a laugh from his throat. "It's just about the faith power, and the faith power I can give you. How much is missing, I will give it to you. It's just that I didn't expect that some people would be so short-sighted. For a little profit, they would do such a short-sighted thing. If you want to become a strong person, you should have a longer vision, girl." Ning Shu smiled and said, "Thank you for the warning, but please pay back what you owe me before the auction house." Young Master Ronghua could not help but shake his head. Sometimes, money was not a problem. Since young Master Ronghua said that he would pay, naturally he would pay. He still had the money, but he did not like Ning Shu to do this. Hong Yu saw that young Master Ronghua seemed to be about to compromise, and could not help but frown. "Young Master Ronghua." Young Master Ronghua raised his hand to stop Hong Yu from speaking, but Hong Yu's face was full of dissatisfaction. 2333's voice appeared in Ning Shu's mind. "Through the system, Tian told me that you should not have a conflict with a strong person. If young Master Ronghua gave the auction house the tax in front of so many people, it means that you and him have completely turned against each other. You have to think about it." Tian said that young Master Ronghua is a very strong person. It can be said that he stands higher than many task enforcers, and has been looking for a new level of strong person. He said that you should not offend a person for a little profit. A lot of things can't be solved with money, but offending someone for a little profit is not worth it. Ning Shu grinned. She was really honored that young Master Ronghua came to see her, a small shrimp. Young Master Ronghua seemed to want to pay the money, as if this matter was the fault of the auction house. But if she received the money, it meant that she had a bad relationship with a strong person. However, if he were to wither away, he would have to release the auction house. Moreover, without him, he would still get less. If he had more, he wouldn't get a single cent. Perhaps the next time she went to collect taxes, she would still get 100,000 yuan like she was a beggar. Ning Shu could be said to be in a dilemma. If she offended a strong person, then the previous tax would be a bit mysterious. Ning Shu slightly narrowed her eyes and looked at young Master Ronghua. Young Master Ronghua and Ning Shu looked at each other across the table. During this time, some people came into the auction house, and all of them had the law mark on their bodies. It was estimated that they were the law incarnations and came to watch the fun. Young Master Ronghua frowned and looked at the beautiful Hongyu, but Hongyu's face was expressionless. Ning Shu also looked at Hongyu. These people should have been called by Hongyu. Staring at her every day was not tiring. Young Master Ronghua, it is not appropriate to give them money directly, and the auction house is closed for a period of time. There is no business at all. Hongyu said directly, does young Master Ronghua want to compromise with a small city lord? Young Master Ronghua looked at Hongyu gloomily. Who are you? Who are you to tell me what to do? Even your master is not qualified to intervene in my affairs. Hongyu's expression was a bit embarrassed, but she still reluctantly said, I am just telling you out of kindness. Thailand's busiest female streamers' clothes almost couldn't cover the video. Please follow the WeChat public number EI May 222. Chapter 1939. 1 Second Little Shawnette. Org, a wonderful novel for free. Hongyu kept jumping up and down, making young Master Ronghua very unhappy. Of course, he would not give Hongyu any face. A law incarnation stood up and said to young Master Ronghua, the woman sitting opposite you is vengeful. Even if you give her money now, she will only think that you are easy to bully. Moreover, this is not the first time she has used her position as the city lord to do such a thing. She often drives people out of the city of water. This time, she will use this method to threaten you. Ning Shu looked at the man. There was a mark on his hand, which should be a law mark. At this moment, he was looking at him in a very bad mood, as if he had eaten his rice. Ning Shu looked at him indifferently. Who are you? What does this have to do with you? Don't jump out in a hurry to be someone's errand boy. If these people were not found by Hongyu, Ning Shu would twist their heads off and kick them like a ball. I'm telling the truth. Don't you think you can do whatever you want because you are the law of water incarnation? The man sneered. Ning Shu did not get along well with the law incarnations and seemed to be hated by them. Of course, there were many people who were envious and jealous of him, but more people were familiar with Hongyu. It was not impossible to rule out that some people liked Hongyu. Ning Shu chuckled. What does it have to do with you? I've never seen you before, and I have no grudges with you. Why are you stepping on me like this? Do you have to step on others just because you want to please someone? I'm just here to serve justice. The man said. If you have so much free time, go help the old lady cross the road. Now, they were just here to make things more chaotic. More and more people entered the restaurant, and the hall of the restaurant became a little crowded. Young Master Ronghua's face became more and more ugly. He looked at Hongyu and said, You are more annoying than your master. Hongyu smiled faintly. Young Master Ronghua, I'm just trying to save your face. You're also a powerhouse. Now that you've compromised with a junior, and I don't even know where this junior came from, what prestige do you have left? What does it have to do with you? Young Master Ronghua's face was gloomy. Ning Shu propped up his chin. The current situation had turned into a three-way battle. How interesting. As for Hongyu, she seemed to be joining the fray. As for her goal, of course, it was for the law imprint on her head. More and more people came to watch the show. Even Ah Wan and the Time City Lord Chong Sam Man came over. This matter seemed to be getting bigger and bigger. Hong Yu seemed to be deliberately making young Master Rong Hua lose face. It would be better if young Master Rong Hua got angry and directly killed Ning Shu. Behind Hong Yu, there was a master, and young Master Rong Hua would not rashly attack Hong Yu. What he was afraid of was the master behind Hong Yu. From the beginning of the auction until now, it was originally a matter between Ning Shu and the auction house. Now that young Master Rong Hua had come out, Hong Yu had seized the opportunity, and young Master Rong Hua had been used. No matter what happened, if Ning Shu died, Hong Yu would be able to obtain the law imprint, and if young Master Rong Hua compromised on this matter, then Ning Shu would have offended young Master Rong Hua. In short, Hong Yu wouldn't lose out no matter what. Ning Shu leisurely looked at the noisy scene and wanted to see how it would end. Young Master Rong Hua was not a person who could be easily tricked. He stretched out his hand and grabbed Hong Yu's neck. "Who do you think you are? I don't need you to tell me what to do. You are not your master, so why are you showing off in front of me?" Hong Yu still smiled. "Young Master Rong Hua, you'd better not do this. If I die, I'm afraid that the happiest person would be that person." Hong Yu's eyes were fixed on Ning Shu, who was watching the show from the side. "My purpose is the law imprint. If I get the law imprint of water, I will naturally treat the auction house well. Once I get the law imprint, the enchantment of the auction house can be solved with just a wave of my hand. She is just trying to blackmail you and raise the price," Hong Yu said. Hong Yu directly stated her purpose. "You don't need to pay any extra faith power to solve the auction house's problem, and I get what I want. This is a win-win situation." Ah Wan sneered. "Hong Yu, you don't even want the fig leaf now. You want the law imprint so much that you've gone crazy." Hong Yu's neck was being grabbed, so she turned her head with difficulty and saw Ah Wan. She frowned and said angrily, "You speak as if you are so great." Facing Ning Shu, Hong Yu had a condescending attitude, but facing Ah Wan, who had always wanted to surpass her, Hong Yu became angry out of shame, and more importantly, it was a kind of hatred. Ah Wan snorted and looked at Hong Yu with some disdain. "So what if you get the law imprint of water? It doesn't mean that you are powerful just because you have the law imprint." Ning Shu narrowed his eyes and looked at Ah Wan. Ah Wan must have built her own world. He wondered if Hong Yu had built her own world. Hong Yu's face turned red from Ah Wan's sarcasm. She bit her lip and looked at Ah Wan. "I hate your high and mighty appearance the most, as if you are so great." Ning Shu pulled the corner of his mouth. When Hong Yu was with him, wasn't she also high and mighty? People didn't care about you, but you said that people looked down on you. Would they lower themselves to care about you? The Chong Sam Man of Time City opened his folding fan and said to the gloomy young Master Rong Hua, "Rong Hua, let's talk nicely. This is not a big deal. Don't make it complicated, and don't be used by others." The Chong Sam Man said to Rong Hua. Ning Shu immediately gave the Chong Sam Man a thumbs up. "Good guy, next time I will help you get a girl." The Chong Sam Man glanced at Ning Shu and looked at Rong Hua. "Hong Yu is also Wen Yan's woman." Young Master Rong Hua smiled and squeezed Hong Yu's neck. Hong Yu was a little uncomfortable. "Am I afraid of Wen Yan? It's not good to fight like this." They could not see the person, only hear the voice. Everyone heard a hearty male voice, and then a man appeared in front of Rong Hua and Hong Yu. This man grabbed young Master Rong Hua's wrist and forced him to let go of Hong Yu. Young Master Rong Hua's pupils shrank. "Wen Yan, a beautiful woman like a flower should be cherished. Don't treat her so rudely like you. It makes me sad to see her like this," Wen Yan said with a smile. Young Master Rong Hua snorted gloomily and let go of Hong Yu's neck. Hong Yu moved her neck uncomfortably. There was a black mark where young Master Rong Hua had pinched, and it seemed to be corroding her soul. Young Master Rong Hua shook off Wen Yan's hand. Wen Yan immediately grabbed Hong Yu's hand and touched it. Sure enough, it's more comfortable to touch a girl's hand. It's disgusting to touch a man. Young Master Rong Hua's gloomy face became even more gloomy. However, when Wen Yan held Hong Yu's hand, the black mark on Hong Yu's neck disappeared at a speed visible to the naked eye. Obviously, Wen Yan helped Hong Yu heal. Thailand's bust-to-female streamer's new erotic video is exposed. She pounced on the male lead. "I'm so hungry." Please follow the official WeChat account and watch it online. Chapter 1940. 1 Second Little Shawnette. Org. A wonderful novel for free. Wen Yen was a man in his 20s, wearing casual clothes. He was tall, had picturesque eyebrows, and thin lips. He gave off a romantic vibe. Wen Yen kept touching the cold Awan. "Oh, Awan, you're here too." Awan only nodded slightly at Wen Yen as a greeting. Wen Yen looked around and finally set his eyes on Ning Shu. He walked in front of Ning Shu and carefully sized up Ning Shu. He touched his chin and said, "You're a little short, and your face is average, but your temperament is not bad. Follow me." Ning Shu. Hongyu was not surprised by this situation. "She can follow you, but you have to give me the water law imprint." Wen Yen was famous for having tender feelings for the fairer sex, and he especially liked powerful women. Just like collecting stamps, Wen Yen usually would not make a move on women. He seemed to have tender feelings for the fairer sex, but in fact, he did not put women in an equal position at all. It was like in his garden, he wanted to enrich the flowers in his garden. Proud snow plum, clivia, graceful peony, romantic rose. In short, the more he collected, the better. Ning Shu only had one feeling in his heart. A stallion man was not simply a lecherous demon who could not move when he saw a woman. He admired women like flowers. Ning Shu just smiled. "I don't date." Wen Yen raised his eyebrows. "Who said I want to date you?" "Follow me, and I can try my best to ensure your safety. I admire beautiful women, just like I like flowers. I don't date girls. Of course, I won't do anything to beautiful women." Wen Yan's eyes and lips were very fickle. Ning Shu, this person was really, it looked like this person was Hongyu's backer, but was this kind of person really reliable? Ning Shu said lightly, "Oh, then forget it. I only date, not flowers." "That's enough, Wen Yan. She doesn't want to be a flower in your backyard. It's wrong of you to force her," Hongyu said. Hongyu's expression was a little irritable. Wen Yan sighed, "If there are flowers to pluck, pluck them. Don't wait until there are no flowers." Young Master Ronghua looked at the romantic Wen Yan and said directly, "What are you doing here? It's so lively here. What's wrong with me coming to take a look? Are you the only one allowed to come and not me?" Wen Yan shrugged his shoulders and spread out his hands as he spoke. Dressed in casual clothes, he looked like a sunny and handsome man with a slightly evil aura. His appearance was pleasing to the eye, at least compared to the dark Major Ronghua Gongzi, he looked more comfortable. Young Master Ronghua made a snake-like sound. Wen Yan also made a snake-like sound. The two of them laughed at each other. In short, the restaurant's main hall was filled with people. The current situation was uncertain. If a fight broke out, it would be a good show. The restaurant's owner, Shu Bai, felt unwell. Ning Shu looked at young Master Ronghua and asked, "Why did you choose to settle it downstairs? This kind of thing can be settled by just the two of us. How can we let so many people laugh at us?" Young Master Ronghua looked at Hongyu. Hongyu smiled and said, "Because I booked all the rooms upstairs." "Oh, why are you showing off your wealth?" Ning Shu twitched the corner of his mouth and looked at young Master Ronghua. "Brother, I don't want your money. I'll open the enchantment so that I can disgust her." Young Master Ronghua twitched the corner of his mouth and didn't say anything. Of course, Ning Shu was just joking. Wen Yan said, "You really have a character. Go, open the enchantment and let us see the charm of the city lord of Water City." Ning Shu tilted his head and said, "Do you think I'll open it just because you said so? And I'm powerless now. I can't open it." Young Master Wen Yan raised his eyebrows. "So you haven't fully mastered the law. Then it'll be much easier for me to take the law from you. Don't forget, this is Water City." Ning Shu said without changing his expression. He didn't say that he was ruthless, but he was still ruthless to the enemy. What was there to be protective of the fairer sex? Wen Yan rolled up the sleeves of his casual shirt. There was a walnut-sized black hole in the palm of his right hand. What was this? Was it the power of the law of darkness? You took my law imprint for Hongyu? Ning Shu asked Wen Yan. The law imprint was a good thing, and Wen Yan was willing to part with it. Of course, what Hongyu wants the most now is the water law imprint. If I don't give it to her, who else can I give it to? If you follow me, I can also not take your law imprint. I'm still very good to women. Of course, the premise is that you are my flower. Wen Yan smiled and grabbed Ning Shu's face with his black hole. Ning Shu took a step back and pointed his finger at Wen Yan. Wen Yan's body was covered with an enchantment, but Wen Yan quickly removed the enchantment. A pair of slender hands with distinct joints stretched out. There was a black hole in the palm of his hand, which made his hand look like a miracle. Ning Shu wanted to expel Wen Yan from the city. Wen Yan's body was a little out of control, but he quickly stabilized his body. There is a limit to the power to expel. Your power is not as strong as mine, and your soul is weak. Ning Shu touched his chin with his finger. Are you sure you want to fight here? Wen Yan, fighting is forbidden in the city. If the judge is attracted, everyone here may be unlucky. Young Master Rong Hua said gloomily. It doesn't matter. I can deal with it before he comes. Wen Yan moved his wrist. The black-clothed Grand Elder hovered above the restaurant, lowering his head to observe the situation below. Through the tiles, he could clearly see the situation inside the restaurant. He didn't say anything and just watched silently. Ning Shu smiled slightly, running to my place and robbing my things. This is not good. Wen Yan did not speak. One of his hands reached for Ning Shu's face. Ning Shu tilted his head to avoid Wen Yan's hand. As soon as he got close to Wen Yan's hand, Ning Shu felt a dark force integrate into his soul. It was full of suction, as if it was going to be sucked into his palm. It seemed that there was a big world in Wen Yan's body. Now that everyone was a soul without a physical body, there were many restrictions on the use of the law of water. However, this was the city of water after all. Ning Shu and Wen Yan were evenly matched. Hongyu tightly pursed her lips and clasped her hands together, looking a little nervous. She probably felt that the law of water imprint was about to be in her hands. Ah Wan frowned and wanted to make a move, but the Cheongsam man stopped her. It's useless to go up. It will only make the situation more chaotic. Ah Wan said indifferently, I have no relationship with the law of water incarnation, but I don't want Hongyu to get the law imprint. Ah Wan jumped out and joined the team against Wen Yan. Ah Wan, you treacherous woman. You are just afraid that I will get the law imprint. Hongyu also joined the ranks. Thailand's busiest female streamers' clothes almost couldn't cover the video. Please follow the WeChat public number EI New May 222. Chapter 1941. Falling in Love with You, Transmigrating Canon Fodder Female Supporting Character Counterattack. The restaurant was in a mess. Shu Bai looked at her restaurant that had become a place for fighting and could not help but rub her forehead. Si Tian frowned. Such a big commotion must have attracted people. Shu Bai said, I'm more concerned about who's going to pay for my restaurant's losses. Awan, what does this have to do with you? Why are you interfering? Hongyu said angrily as she fought with Awan. Awan appeared calm and indifferent. Hongyu, you're always competing with me and jumping around in front of me every day. If you can't get the nomological imprint, you'll be tormented by jealousy forever. You always treat me as an imaginary enemy. If I don't do anything, won't I be hated for nothing? Hongyu gritted her teeth. You're afraid that I'll get the water nomological imprint, and the water nomological imprint restrains your fire nomological imprint. That's why you jumped out in such a hurry. Now you're not even protecting your noble and elegant image. Disgusting woman. Ah Wan said indifferently, I've never said that I'm noble and elegant. Of course I'm not happy for you to get the water nomological imprint. Furthermore, with your temperament, you're dreaming if you want to get the water nomological imprint. You can't get the nomological imprint's recognition. Awan attacked Hongyu. The bright fire nomological imprint between Awan's brows reflected a beautiful fiery color in the beautiful room. Awan's expression was cold and the fire between her brows burned brightly, making her look especially noble and elegant. When Hongyu saw this, she felt extremely uncomfortable and was even more determined to get the water nomological imprint. She hated Ah Wan's appearance in front of her the most. Because she was not as strong as Ah Wan, her powerlessness turned into hatred for Ah Wan. Sometimes, the aura between people was just so strange. Ah Wan and Hongyu were born to be unable to get along well. Their style of doing things, their speech, and their actions were different. Hongyu's attacks were ruthless and she was practically gnashing her teeth. Her entire person was filled with resentment. Ah Wan was calm and relaxed, looking more imposing than Hongyu. Ning Shu was almost sucked into the black hole in Wen Yan's palm several times. Wen Yan moved his neck, clearly annoyed that Ning Shu kept dodging. He stretched out his hand and the black hole in his palm exploded with a strong suction force, sucking the surrounding tables and chairs into his palm. Just like a black hole, these things were sucked away to God knows where. Ning Shu was pulled towards Wen Yan by this attractive force. A large saber appeared in Ning Shu's hand and rushed towards Wen Yan. He raised the saber and waved it towards Wen Yan's hand. Wen Yan's hand was cut off at the wrist by the large saber condensed by Ning Shu. Wen Yan looked at his wrist. The incision was neat and tidy. Because it was his soul and state, it would not bleed at all. In the end, it was his soul that hurt a little. You've got guts. Wen Yan reformed his hand and a black hole appeared in his palm. The soul power in his hand was gone. I thought you were a flower in front of me, a little wild flower, but it seems like I have to destroy you ruthlessly. Ning Shu held the crescent blade with his hands on his waist and said, I am the famous chicken cutter. Ning Shu glanced at Wen Yan's crotch and chuckled. Looks like it's not a flower, it's a pepper. Wen Yan appeared in front of Ning Shu in a flash and put his palm on Ning Shu's forehead, trying to take away the law imprint. Ning Shu operated the law of earth. The law imprint trembled slightly and directly bounced Wen Yan's hand away. Ning Shu looked at the black hole in Wen Yan's palm and pointed his palm. A huge water column rushed towards Wen Yan's palm and the black hole swallowed the water. Since you like to suck things so much, I'll give you more. Senior Grand Uncle looked up at the enchantment. He actually attracted the law outside the city of water. It seemed that he really wanted to die. The city lord of the law of water must die. If he wasn't careful, the entire city would be destroyed by the violent power of law. Wen Yan held his wrist and felt some pain. Ning Shu withdrew the law power and held the large saber to cut off Wen Yan's hand again. Wen Yan frowned. After all, this was not his home ground. The suppression was great. Ronghua, don't you want to do something? When the judges come, none of us can escape. Wen Yan asked the sinister young master Ronghua. Young master Ronghua just said lightly, if my soul-breaking whip appears here, it will be confiscated. I already have a criminal record. When they come, let's deal with it first. Wen Yan said, now that the situation is like this, we can't do anything useless. Young Master Ronghua thought for a moment and took out a dark soul-breaking whip. The soul-breaking whip flickered with a faint luster. It looked daunting and even made people's souls tremble. Young Master Ronghua slightly swung the whip, and the whip burst out a loud sound in the air. Ning Shu quickly swung the whip. Ning Shu quickly dodged, but the tail of the whip still slightly swept Ning Shu's body. Ning Shu suddenly felt the pain of his soul being torn apart. This whip was so powerful. Ning Shu felt that he should also prepare a soul tool. It was said that fighting was not allowed in the city, but these people would only pretend to obey. If he did not prepare, he would only be killed. Moreover, these people did not seem to be afraid of the judges. Obviously, they had enough cards in their hands. Ning Shu touched his arm that was swept by the whip. He felt that his arm could not move. Ning Shu snorted, and a whip also appeared in his hand. He swung it and entangled it with the soul-breaking whip. Ning Shu and young Master Ronghua pulled the whip. Boom! The whole water city trembled. Everyone was stunned for a moment and flew out of the restaurant. They saw that the auction house had collapsed, and the enchantment was also broken. Of course, when they saw the black-robed man floating above the ruins, everyone could not help but take a step back. Someone whispered. Young Master Ronghua saw that the auction house had collapsed. indicating that the auction house could not do business here. Ning Shu, fuck, my money. Damn, the auction house could not get back what they owed him. Moreover, they had completely offended young Master Ronghua and the auction house. Ning Shu felt that he and this man's 8 characters were incompatible. Nothing good would come out of meeting him. The black-robed grand uncle walked towards the crowd step by step. Who allowed you to do this? When Yen spread out his hands, we were just playing around. Was it fun? Grand uncle asked. When Yen, it was okay. You hand over half of your soul force. Grand uncle pointed his gun at Wen Yen, young Master Ronghua, and On. Wan helplessly shook her head. Got it. Your soul-breaking whip is confiscated. Grand uncle took away young Master Ronghua's soul-breaking whip. Young Master Ronghua's face suddenly turned ugly. He wanted to take back his soul-breaking whip, but he was afraid of the gun in the other party's hand. Wen Yen saw this scene and laughed. Young Master Ronghua looked at Wen Yen with a malicious look. Wen Yen directly said, "What's the use of looking at me? Go and take it. Read a novel." Chapter 1942. Falling in Love with You. Transmigrating canon fodder female supporting character counterattack. Young Master Ronghua knew what Wen Yan's heart was. He squeezed out a laugh from his throat, and Wen Yan also laughed. Young Master Ronghua's expression was not very good. He pointed at Ning Shu. I accept the punishment, but what about her? She also did it. These two will be completely obliterated. Senior uncle pointed his gun at Ning Shu and Hong Yu. Hong Yu's face was pale, as if she was facing a great enemy. Why is it only me? Awan, she also did it. Hong Yu was not convinced. But she didn't want to die. It was not easy for her to reach the step, and the road was full of difficulties. The most unbearable thing for Hong Yu was that Awan was fine, but she was going to be obliterated. But what kind of background did Awan have? What kind of background did she have? Awan was exempted from punishment, just a symbolic punishment. Ning Shu tightly pursed his lips. Was she going to be completely obliterated this time? Awan must have built her own world, and there were thousands of creatures with the same fate as her. Senior uncle, this is our fault. Hong Yu didn't mean it. Give me face and let her go. Wen Yen received Hong Yu's signal for help and said to Senior uncle, You want to die for her? Senior uncle looked at him expressionlessly. When Yen tugged at the corner of his mouth, Hong Yu instantly felt despair. Looking at the high and mighty Awan at the side, Hong Yu felt both angry and jealous. The black muzzle was pointed at her, and Hong Yu was extremely scared. Facing the threat of death, Hong Yu knelt down. I was wrong. Please give me another chance. Hong Yu cried like a pear blossom with tears, and people couldn't help but feel soft-hearted. Wen Yan's heart twitched because of Hong Yu's crying. It was his fault that the beauty suffered. Senior uncle didn't even blink. He still pointed the gun at Hong Yu. Hong Yu's jade-like face was distorted because of fear. Please, I know I was wrong. I won't dare to do it again. Hong Yu walked toward Senior uncle. Her figure was graceful, and she was as beautiful as a fairy. Senior uncle shot the gun and directly killed Hong Yu, who was walking toward him. He stretched out his hand and absorbed Hong Yu's soul force. When Yen frowned, a beauty had died just like that. After killing Hong Yu, it should be her turn. Even the law incarnation had no way of controlling their own fate. Tai Shu coldly pointed the gun at Ning Shu. Ning Shu's pupils contracted, and his whole body trembled uncontrollably. A powerful pressure locked onto him. There was also a strong smell of death. Her entire life was about to come to an end. The surrounding onlookers were all thinking that their water city was going to have a new city lord. Grand Elder directly fired a shot at Ning Shu's forehead. While destroying his soul, he also wanted to destroy the law imprint. The surrounding people sighed in pity. In such a situation, they should have left behind the law imprint, the water law imprint. Ning Shu watched as the power of extermination flew towards him. He could not move. As a soul, he could not feel cold. However, Ning Shu felt a bone-piercing cold. He could even hear the hymn of death. Ning Shu even saw various scenes flashing through his eyes. Ning Shu looked at the indifferent senior uncle and the corner of his mouth twitched. Anyway, she was going to be annihilated from this world. Then, he would use the law imprint for the last time to destroy everyone present. The power of extermination passed through Ning Shu's forehead, but it was only an afterimage. Senior uncle frowned and watched the afterimage gradually dissipate. Fuck! Senior uncle cursed and disappeared in a flash. Dead? When Yen asked, Awan carefully sensed. No, Water City still has a city lord. Fire and water were incompatible. Awan could feel that the water law incarnation was still alive. He can still escape the pursuit, but he will die sooner or later. Rong Hua looked at the ruins of the auction house. I also wasted half of my soul force. I don't know when I can make up for it. When Yen sighed, I'll go first. I didn't get anything. Instead, I lost half of my soul force. Also, the beautiful woman is gone. I'm heartbroken. Rong Hua looked at Wen Yen gloomily and took the lead to leave. When Ning Shu returned to the system space, his whole person was sluggish. He didn't recover for a long time. His eyes didn't even move. Tears even flowed out uncontrollably. Ning Shu lay on the sofa and cried. Damn, I thought I was going to die. Why are you crying? I'm the one who should be crying. 2333 said tiredly. Ning Shu touched the tears on his face and finally laughed uncontrollably. He laughed until his body curled up. I'm not dead, I'm not dead. 2333, thank you for saving me. Ning Shu said. Besides 2333, Ning Shu didn't know who else would save him. That was the result of snatching people from the hands of the Grim Reaper. In order to save you, I basically sacrificed half of my life and paid a huge price. I don't want to have my memory erased in the future and then have my soul force extracted to start all over again. In the future, stay away from the judge. He's almost the king of hell. This time you escaped, but the next time, you don't know. In short, you owe him a life. 2333 said. Ning Shu touched the tears on his face. I know, when can I kill him? Well, according to your current ability and estimated his ability, the probability of you killing him is almost zero. Before you have the strength, be a dog with its tail between your legs. 2333 said, I don't know if I can save you next time. I know. Ning Shu poked the corner of his mouth with his finger and made a smiling face. As long as he was alive, there was endless hope. Tai Shuha. Wen Yen and Rong Hua, who were also troublemakers, were only punished with half of their soul force. That was the privilege of the strong. Ning Shu hammered his soft and trembling legs. Until that moment, Ning Shu knew how much he wanted to live. He wanted to live very much. He was too unwilling to die like this. If he died like this, all his efforts would be a joke. Ning Shu stretched out his hand, and the Peerless Martial Arts on the bookshelf flew into Ning Shu's hand. The Peerless Martial Arts were getting heavier and heavier. When he opened it, it was no longer a page, but a world. When he found enough world origin, he could slowly form a world. Although he entered a level, Ning Shu found that he was almost the weakest existence in a certain level. It was really not easy to build a world. Ning Shu put the world origin on the bookshelf and lit some agarwood. She was in a very bad state now. She was almost scared out of her wits. She never wanted to taste the taste of death again. There would be a day when she would no longer be controlled by others. Ning Shu curled up on the sofa with his eyes closed. His eyelashes trembled and he looked frightened. Just read a refreshing novel. Chapter 1943. Falling in Love with You, Transmigrating Canon Fodder Female Supporting Character Counterattacks. She was just too scared. She was afraid of death. There were still many things she hadn't done yet. Ning Shu hugged her knees and curled up her body. She chanted a spell in her heart to calm herself down and fill her timid heart with courage. When Ning Shu woke up, she wasn't in a good state. Her soul was entwined with traces of black smoke. She had gone mad. You're so scared that you peed your pants? 2333 said with some annoyance. When I was imprisoned for billions of years, I was lonely, but I wasn't like you. The strong are tenacious. If you're really afraid, you might as well die. I'll send you to the grand uncle and let him kill you with his spear. Ning Shu took a deep breath and sat cross-legged on the sofa, smelling the agarwood while cultivating. The black smoke in her soul gradually dissipated. It was that man's mistake that he didn't kill her this time. When Ning Shu opened her eyes again, her eyes were clear and her eyes were more determined. Ning Shu said, "You have memories. You were imprisoned for billions of years." "Who imprisoned you?" 2333 said hesitantly, "I guess I was some big devil in my previous life. When I became a system, I was locked up." Ning Shu felt that 2333 was lying, but he didn't plan to ask. This time, 2333 was able to snatch her back from the hands of the king of hell, which meant that 2333 was the king of hiding. Ning Shu didn't want to know who 2333 was. With 2333's ability, he just went on like this. The chat system rang. Ning Shu opened the chat system. It was a message from Ah Wan. "Are you still alive?" "Yes," Ning Shu replied. Ah Wan quickly sent another message. "This time you went too far. You actually attracted the power of the law outside the city. Maybe the city will be swallowed by the violent power of the law. However, this time Hong Yu is dead and you're still alive. You've profited." Ning Shu forced a smile and said, "Thank you for your help this time." "Thank you." No matter what she did, the situation would always be the same. Don't feel wronged. Don't think that young Master Ronghua and Wen Yen haven't been punished. Everyone started off weak. In the past, young Master Ronghua and Wen Yen, including me, had to stagger forward step by step. Even if we fell on the ground, we would still crawl forward. Being strong doesn't give you any privileges. For some unknown reason, Ah Wan said these words to Ning Shu. Ning Shu smirked and replied, "I understand. Thank you." This was the reason why Ning Shu wanted to work hard and become stronger. Only by working hard and sweating and succeeding step by step would he be qualified to speak, to be qualified to decide his own fate, and even the fate of others. If they didn't contribute anything, they would only be at the mercy of others, just like livestock in captivity. They would have food and drink, but when the time came, they would be slaughtered. Ning Shu slightly recovered from the previous incident. One who survives a great disaster is bound to have good fortune later. It's good that you can figure it out. If you can't figure it out, then so be it. Ah Wan was about to close the chat system. Ning Shu thanked Ah Wan again. "Thank you for your help this time." "No need. This is between me and Hong Yu. I'm tired of her." Ah Wan stopped talking to Ning Shu. Ning Shu blinked and suddenly felt that Ah Wan was actually quite black-bellied. As soon as she made a move, Hong Yu would definitely be provoked to make a move. In this kind of city, Ah Wan would at most be punished a little, but people like Hong Yu would definitely be obliterated. Hong Yu was a person with a background. If Ah Wan personally killed Hong Yu, it would only cause discord with Wen Yen. It wasn't worth it. Instead, it was the judge who got rid of Hong Yu, this noisy fly. Ning Shu clicked his tongue. No one was stupid. Ning Shu took a deep breath and said to 2333, "If I build a world, will this passive situation be better?" "Yes, there will always be someone better than you. The path of the strong will never end. When you build a world, maybe there will be a new path," 2333 said. "Don't be too anxious. Those task enforcers have been accumulating for tens of thousands of years. Everyone came one step at a time. They face the fate of being obliterated and can die at any time, but it doesn't mean they are invincible. Actually, from the time you became a super task enforcer until now, it hasn't even been 500 years. To be able to become a super task enforcer is already good enough." 2333 probably saw that Ning Shu was scared silly and didn't mock him for the time being. Ning Shu just grinned. Probably because he wasn't strong enough to meet these people, he immediately showed his disadvantage. The most important thing now was to build a world that belonged to him. Ning Shu rested his head on his hands and looked at the white ceiling, deep in thought. After a while, Ning Shu opened the chatting system and sent a message to Mei Ziqing, asking Little Flame how the incubation of the two-world origins was going. Mei Ziqing replied, I don't know. Probably nothing, no changes, so the incubation hasn't been successful. Is this world origin or not? Little Flame has been holding it, but it's useless. Having just experienced life and death and hearing Mei Ziqing's words, he suddenly felt like a lifetime had passed. It felt so good to be alive. He could hear, see, feel, laugh, cry, love, hate. If he was annihilated, there would be nothing left, not even an afterlife. Once he embarked on this path, there was no turning back. He could only run forward, and when he transcended, he would be able to control himself. Ningxu, are you there? Retard, answer me. Mei Ziqing waited for a while, but Ningxu didn't reply. Ningxu said, I'm here. Maybe the time isn't right. Let's hold it for a while. What's wrong? You don't seem to be in a good mood. Mei Ziqing asked Ningxu. Mei Ziqing felt that something was wrong. There's nothing that can't be over. Think about my ex-boyfriend. I tore open my own scars to comfort you. We mission enforcers are immortal, but everything has a price, Mei Ziqing said to Ningxu. Ningxu had already recovered. This was not the first time she had been obliterated, but this was the closest she had ever been to death. The amulet was useless. This kind of thing could only be used after the mission failed. Facing the judge directly in her spirit state was like a fish on the chopping board. What happened to you was that your boyfriend died, and I was almost killed, Ningxu said. The one who died was your man, not you. Mei Ziqing said, what did you do this time? Before we have absolute power, we shouldn't challenge authority. Authority can only be challenged with enough power. It's stupid to overestimate yourself. Enough with the novels. Chapter 1944. Falling in Love with You, Transmigrating Canon Fodder Female Supporting Character Counterattack Challenging Authority. Authority, power, and dignity. If it was so easy to challenge, it wouldn't be called authority. I've never thought of challenging the rules. It's just that sometimes things go beyond my expectations, Ningxu said helplessly. Ningxu's biggest mistake in this matter was having the law imprint. Moreover, it was the ever-changing law of water. It was this thing that brought disaster. There were always people who felt that she didn't deserve to have it, even if the law had chosen Ningxu. Everything that happened in the City of Water was because of the law of water. Wealth moved people's hearts, and power intoxicated people's hearts. The law imprint had both wealth and power. Ningxu touched her new imprint. When her hand touched it, she felt a cool feeling. This thing was both a blessing and a curse. Of course, Ningxu wouldn't give this thing to others. Moreover, when the law imprint left her, it meant that she was about to dissipate. This thing would only fall off when she died. The people who came to take away her law imprint were all people who wanted her life. When her world was successfully constructed and she had the right to speak, these grievances could be settled slowly. Ningxu, when it's time to keep a low profile, it's best to make a fortune in silence. Mei Ziqing warned Ningxu, leave some trump cards in your hands, and don't be silly enough to tell others. I know, Ningxu said. People's hearts were sinister. She had to leave some trump cards in her hands. Ningxu originally wanted to go to various cities to find the world's origin. However, after this incident, she had to hide for a while. If she encountered a judge who insisted on killing her, what could she do? This time, 2333 had saved her. Would he save her again next time? He would probably watch coldly from the sidelines after seeing his mission enforcer courting death. At worst, he would just start all over again. When her world was successfully constructed, she would definitely float in front of him again and again without any scruples. The grand uncle was colder than Ningxu had imagined. Even though Ruyu was as beautiful as a flower and begged him, he was still indifferent. Ruyu even wanted to offer herself, but he was still indifferent. He was very calm and decisive as he directly killed Hongyu. Therefore, Ningxu did not plead for leniency because it was useless. An ant was just an ant. After the world was constructed, if possible, Ningxu wanted to deal with him. He was enforcing the law impartially, But that didn't stop Ning Shu from hating him. Although 2333 said that the probability of killing him was almost negative, nothing was impossible in this world. There was really no way to deal with this kind of impartial and cold-blooded person. The heavenly Tao was heartless, and he was more or less like this. Ning Shu chatted with Mei Ziqing for a while before closing the chat system. She didn't really want to do missions now, nor could she go to the various cities to look for the world's origin. Now they had to avoid the judges like the plague. His heart was stifled. Ning Shu still hadn't gotten used to the fact that the city lord of a city of laws had suddenly become a fugitive. Can I still do missions? Ning Shu asked 2333. What if the judges come after me during missions? Why not do the mission system? 2333 asked. I'm afraid that person will come after me? Ning Shu said. She didn't kill you. That's her mistake. It has nothing to do with you, but that doesn't stop her from killing you if she meets you, 2333 said. Ning Shu was speechless. You mean if I meet her, I'll kill her, and if I don't, I won't care? Ning Shu asked. Something like that. Your current identity belongs to the category of being able to kill or not kill, but you're doing missions. There are hundreds of millions of worlds. The chances of you meeting her are very small. 2333 comforted the cowardly Ning Shu. Ning Shu said, Can I know how you saved me? Oh, I used a bit of my ability, plus 500,000 merit points. These merit points are enough to erase what you did in Water City. 500,000 merit points? Ning Shu quickly opened her attribute pane and found that 500,000 merit points were missing. The taxes from before were almost gone now. It was a surprise, a pleasant surprise, and a thrill. Ning Shu didn't say anything. 500,000 merit points were enough to exchange for her life. If she died, not to mention 500,000, even 1,000,000 would be useless. Merit points could be saved, but if she died, she would have nothing. Besides, the entire Water City would provide her with a steady stream of taxes. Next time, she would almost earn it back. Ning Shu decided to wait and do missions. Until now, her legs were still shaking. She was looking for a weapon that could cause damage to the soul, such as young Master Rong Hua's soul whip. She also needed a suitable soul weapon. Previously, she heard from the silver-haired man that the soul attack ability could be used to transform the soul into any weapon to attack the soul. Ning Shu calmed down and then mobilized her soul power. The soul power formed a simple dagger, but it was condensed from the soul power. It was a dagger without any lethality. Only by constantly compressing the soul power could the soul power have some offensive power. Ning Shu experimented for a while. Her mind and soul power became very tired. The newly formed sword turned into soul power and merged into her soul. This feeling was similar to the feeling of using a peerless martial art. Practice makes perfect. She could only practice and practice. After resting for a while and continuing to practice, Ning Shu opened the system exchange shop to see if there were any hypnosis skills. Although hypnosis couldn't split mountains and move stones, it was a very useful tool for people with weak mental power. Ning Shu flipped through the items page by page and finally found a book to learn hypnosis. Moreover, it wasn't a skill. If it was a skill, she could use it as soon as she bought it. But if it was a book, she would have to learn it herself. Ning Shu used a bit of faith power to buy a book to learn hypnosis. First, she wolfed down the book in her mind. She didn't talk about how to use it first. She would first memorize it and then slowly learn it. She could even slowly practice it during missions. After buying the book to learn hypnosis, Ning Shu looked for any tools that could resist the power of obliteration. If she was really unlucky and encountered an inquisitor, she might be able to resist it and give herself a chance to escape. However, after searching for a while, she couldn't find anything. She felt that these people were very treacherous. They didn't have such a tool. Could it be that they didn't want to waste energy to obliterate, so they didn't even have such a tool? This old lady has plenty of money. Take it out and sell it, bitch? Ning Shu felt that the items in the system shop were too expensive. Moreover, they all looked quite awesome, but in reality, they were all useless. They looked gorgeous and dazzling. He didn't know who built the system shop, but it was so black-hearted. He didn't know how many soft and kind-hearted people were cheated. They still believed that there was true love in the world. So much for reading novels. Chapter 1945. Falling in Love with You. Transmigrating canon fodder female supporting character counterattack. Unable to find a tool to resist the power of obliteration, Ning Shu closed the exchange store. To be honest, Ning Shu felt that the exchange store was almost useless. Moreover, it was a program that was bound to every mission taker. Who knew how many transactions there would be in a day? Especially for those who had just become mission takers, they had no way to enter the virtual space and could only exchange things from the exchange store. Thinking back, Ning Shu also thought that this thing was incomparably high. Looking at it now, it was too much of a scam. The chat system rang. Ning Shu opened the system. It was a message from Tion, saying that he wanted to buy the auction house, but asked Ning Shu to reduce the tax. After all, the auction house had collapsed, and it would take time and money to restore it to its original state. Tion sent a message because he wanted to buy the auction house, and also to test whether Ning Shu was still alive. Giving the auction house to Tion was also good. Tion was a person who took care of everything. Everything was done according to the rules. He would not go back on his word. After the incident at the restaurant, not many people would dare to go back on their word. If the city lord went back on his word, no one would dare to go back on his word. Ning Shu thought about it and gave the auction house to Tion. It was better than leaving it empty. Ning Shu had lost too much because of this incident. Previously, she had been afraid that she would lose everything that the store owed her. Now, she even had a disagreement with young Master Ronghua. She had also lost 500,000 merit points and had become a fugitive. If they met on a narrow road, he would definitely be executed. Ning Shu supported his chin. What was the reason that things had developed to this point? Was it because he was too strong? If he did not close the auction house, this matter would not have happened. However, every time he saw the auction house, he would not be able to vent his anger. His heart would be depressed, and he would have to pay the price for his actions. Therefore, Ning Shu felt that whether he could bear it or not, he had wronged himself. It was because he was not strong enough, and he did not think about the consequences of his actions. He had indeed used the laws outside the city. If she had constructed her own world, she would only be punished symbolically and would not be killed outright. Hong Yu's death was the same as Ning Shu's. Because she was not strong enough, she did not construct her own world. Even if Wen Yan spoke up for her, she still couldn't escape the fate of being obliterated. Therefore, right and wrong were very vague things. Ning Shu let out a long breath. His biggest mistake was that he wasn't strong enough. Try your best to build a world. With a world, you won't be easily erased. Wen Yan, young Master Ronghua, and Awan were all like this. Even Wen Yan was the first to make a move. He only punished half of his soul power. There was nothing to be unresigned about. It was just that he was too weak. Tion asked Ning Shu some questions to find out about Ning Shu's current situation. Ning Shu only said that he was fine and that there was no need to worry. Working hard to become stronger was more practical than anything else. Ning Shu poured some agarwood into the incense burner and began to train his soul attack power over and over again. It was said that fighting was not allowed in the city, but the rules were for ordinary mission enforcers. Once a mission enforcer broke the rules, he would at most be punished. However, half of his spiritual power was enough to make Wen Yan and the others feel distressed. After all, such a powerful soul power was reduced by half. Even if it was half, it was still more than Ning Shu's current soul power. After thinking it through, he didn't feel so uncomfortable. In short, don't resent others because of your own incompetence. You have to adjust your mentality. Ning Shu hammered his chest and then straightened his chest. Sister, I will boldly walk forward. However, Ning Shu still didn't want to do the mission. She wanted to go to the City of Water to see if there was any problem with the enchantment, but she always felt that Grand Uncle would wait for her to walk into the trap. She was so scared that she didn't dare to go. She didn't need to go for the time being. If something really happened in the city, Someone would definitely inform her. She didn't know when these days of hiding would end. Only when she built her own world would she be able to successfully build a world. And not only did she have to build a world, but there was also the damn world of reincarnation. It was so torturous, so hard, and so difficult. Ning Shu could understand at once why young Master Ronghua and the others could only symbolically punish her. She had endured so much. Why should she die with a weak person? Why should she ask for the same treatment? She had also climbed up step by step. Was it fair to them? Therefore, the greatest fairness was based on strength. If one day, Ning Shu was required to accept the same punishment as a primary mission enforcer and be obliterated, why should she? What was fairness? What was right and wrong? If it was fair to herself, would it be fair to others? Forget it, let's not think about this. Ning Shu just wanted to build the world quickly. She released some spiritual power into the black hole. The black hole swallowed the spiritual power, but Ning Shu didn't see anything. She felt that the black hole was really mysterious. There was a black hole that stored souls, and there was also the black hole in Wenyan's palm. It seemed that Grand Uncle also had a black hole. In short, it was a very mysterious thing. This black hole made Ning Shu a little irritated. He couldn't fuse anything into it, and it was just hanging there. He didn't know how long it would hang there. He really didn't know how long it would take. After redeeming some fasting pills and pills, he was ready to do the mission. It was useless to worry about these things. However, when he was redeeming the fasting pills, he saw that there were fresh fish for sale. It was the kind of fish that was ornamental. He didn't know if it could survive in the system space. Ning Shu bought a few small fish and a small fish tank. He put the small fish in the tank and they swam happily. They didn't look like ordinary fish. However, the fish tank looked very monotonous. Ning Shu casually took the law stone. He didn't know what this law stone was used for. He only said that it was born in the Sea of Law and was a reward for a trial mission. Now that it was useless to put it here, he threw the law stone in the fish tank as a decoration. He put some water plants in it. With the small fish swimming, the whole space became more lively. Ning Shu smiled and said to 2333, "Let's go do the mission." Ning Shu asked again, "When I do the mission, I won't be hunted down, right?" 2333. They probably won't come specifically to kill you. You're not worth the effort. There are so many things to deal with. They'll keep an eye on you. At most, when they meet you in the future, they'll remember that they didn't kill this person and shoot you. Who cares about an invisible ant? If you don't do anything wrong, the chances of meeting you are about zero. Ning Shu, 2333, had been imprisoned. He must have been too vicious with his words. That was why he was locked up for billions of years. He didn't even have a person to talk to. That's it for reading novels. Chapter 1946. Falling in Love with You. Transmigrating canon fodder. Female supporting character Counterattack. Ning Shu's head shook. After a moment of dizziness, he merged into a body. Ning Shu felt very strange. It felt like he had merged into a body, but at the same time, it didn't feel like he had merged into a body. Ning Shu had never encountered such a situation before. He opened his eyes and felt that his body was floating. He pinched his body, but he felt numb pain. He shouldn't be a ghost anymore. He looked around. This was a dormitory. Ning Shu began to receive the storyline and began to cultivate. Ning Shu found that the space was distorted. The magnetic field was unstable, and even some things were distorted. Moreover, it was useless when cultivating. There was no spiritual energy, but there was some yin energy. Could it be that he had entered a supernatural world? Ning Shu opened his eyes and saw that the other 3 people in the dormitory were sleeping soundly. Of course, under the distorted magnetic field, Ning Shu saw his reflection on the surface of the water. Ripples appeared on the surface of the water, causing his reflection to be distorted. Ning Shu raised his wrist and looked at the watch. He found that the watch was broken. Moreover, it was moving in the opposite direction. It was as if he was looking at a mirror. There was basically no storyline. There was only a consciousness called me. Fuck, it was this strange world again. The client didn't even know his name. This seemed to be a university dormitory. Ning Shu looked outside. Dark clouds covered half of the moon, making it look particularly gloomy. Ning Shu began to cultivate. The chaotic magnetic field made Ning Shu unable to cultivate. What kind of world was this? There were shallow breathing sounds in the dormitory. It was the sound of the other 3 sleeping students. Ning Shu gently got off the bed and prepared to go to the bathroom to wash his face. The bathroom in this dormitory was a large bathroom. Many people used it. The tap was not turned off properly. The sound of water dripping was very strange in this night. Ning Shu swallowed a mouthful of saliva and walked to the bathroom door. She saw a person bending over in front of the long sink, holding water to wash his face. "Why don't you turn on the lights?" Ning Shu only thought for a moment when the person washing his face suddenly rushed in front of Ning Shu. It was a very strange clown face with a red nose and a face painted with thick colors. Suddenly, he moved in front of Ning Shu and laughed. Ning Shu was scared stiff by the sudden appearance of this person, and his body felt uncomfortable as if it was filled with lead. His heart felt like it was being pressed down by something. Ning Shu couldn't even close her eyes. "Fuck, you scared me. Democracy, freedom, prosperity, patriotism, 8 honors and 8 disgraces." Ning Shu chanted in his heart. It was as if he had lost control of his body. When he opened his eyes again, the bathroom was already there, and the clown had disappeared. Ning Shu was so scared that he had the urge to urinate. Ning Shu hardened his heart and went to the toilet. How could a living person be suffocated to death by urine? Ning Shu chanted the exorcism scripture in his heart. In any case, he knew that this world was definitely a ghost story. But what surprised Ning Shu was that most of the time, she was controlled by a consciousness called me. Even the names of her roommates were blurry. She only knew that they were her roommates. Ning Shu squatted down and started to relieve himself. But then he felt his butt itch, as if something was scratching his butt. Ning Shu did not even have time to pull his pants up. He jumped up and saw a green hand with long nails. It was this hand that was scratching Ning Shu's butt. Ning Shu thought, "Fuck, isn't this ghost a little too shameless? Is it fun to hide in the toilet?" She pooped on her hand. Ning Shu quickly pulled his pants up and looked around. Then he grabbed a mop and pressed it on the ghost's hand. Could someone tell her what kind of world this was? It felt like there was no logic or development to speak of. Clown, ghost hand, what's next? Long hair dripping with water appeared before Ning Shu. Ning Shu touched the water droplets and sniffed them. The stench was unbearable. What the hell, feces? Ning Shu slowly raised his head and saw a woman whose face was covered in feces hanging upside down from the ceiling. There were maggots crawling in her eyes. Her face was beyond recognition. Prosperity, democracy, harmony, justice, law, world peace, socialist core values protect you. I can't see. Ning Shu used the mop to hit the ghost's face. Then he dropped the mop and ran out of the toilet. He stood at the door and formed a seal with his hands. But there was no spiritual energy in his body, so he could not draw talismans. Dong 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 dong. The sound of the bouncing ball was exceptionally clear in the quiet corridor. Even his heart was following this rhythm. What is it this time? Ning Shu turned his head. Under the dim moonlight, he saw a ball-like thing bouncing towards him. This ball-like thing jumped to Ning Shu's feet and let out a baby's cry. Then a headless baby crawled towards Ning Shu. The headless baby, was crying heartbreakingly beside Ning Shu. Why is there a baby again? A clown, a female ghost, a baby, and what else? Ning Shu felt unwell all over. He looked at the baby crawling towards him. The baby's head was rubbing against Ning Shu's feet and biting Ning Shu's feet. It looked like it wanted to bite through the skin and suck Ning Shu's blood. Ning Shu kicked the head away. Go over there. Ning Shu hurried back to the dormitory. It seemed like the dormitory was the only safe place now. Pang! Ning Shu just reached the door. The door suddenly opened and hit Ning Shu's forehead. It was painful. There are zombies inside. Zombies, run. There was a roar from inside. Ning Shu looked at the zombie with dull eyes. Its eyes were the color of fresh lychee meat. Its movements were staggering as it rushed towards her. Why would there be zombies on the 4th floor? Ning Shu did not know why he knew that this was the 4th floor. Anyway, it was the 4th floor. Why was there no logic? But whatever he wanted to appear appeared. It was simply unconstrained. Ning Shu also hurried to catch up with his 3 roommates. Everyone ran downstairs. But the dormitory's door was closed. The dormitory's auntie was sleeping soundly. Ning Shu looked at the lock. He pulled with all his strength. He could not open the lock. How could this world be distorted like this? They did not hear the zombie's voice. It seemed like the zombie just now was just an illusion. But then a swarm of beetles came. These beetles were corpse bugs. They swarmed towards them. One of his roommates was surrounded by these bugs. In almost a second, he turned into a skeleton. Ning Shu's face was cold. My mother. Why would these things appear in the dormitory? Logic was dead. Just read a novel. Chapter 1947. Falling in Love with You, Transmigrating Cannon Fodder Female Supporting Character Counterattacks. Swarms of insects swarmed over, and behind them was the metal door. There was no way out now. Ning Shu wanted to know why they were the only ones who encountered such things. Could it be that the others in the dormitory were already dead asleep? Take this. One of the roommates stuffed something into Ning Shu's hand. A beetle had drilled into Ning Shu's leg, creating a huge bump in her skin and flesh. The beetle was running on her skin. Put some essential bomb on your body, a roommate shouted. Essential bomb? Ning Shu had already been forced to death by Mr. Logic. Why was the zombie afraid of the smell of essential bomb? As soon as Ning Shu opened the bottle of essential bomb, a cold smell immediately spread out. The surrounding zombies did not dare to come close. Ning Shu pressed down on the zombie running around in his flesh and dripped the essential bomb on his skin and flesh. The skin and flesh were instantly corroded by the essential bomb. Even the zombie inside was corroded by the essential bomb. There was a special kind of pain. It was cold and seemed to be burning. Ning Shu wanted to bang his head against the wall. Was this essential bomb? This was sulfuric acid. Ning Shu approached the roommate who gave him the essential bomb and asked, "How do you know that this thing can deal with zombies?" "It can deal with them." The roommate was also very confused. Everyone squatted at the door of the dormitory and looked at the countless zombies. They were also afraid of the smell of the essential bomb and did not dare to come over. Ning Shu was speechless. Was this really not a joke? Essential bomb? Ning Shu looked at his calf. There was a bloody hole where the zombie had bitten, and another hole was corroded by the essential bomb. It was so painful that half of his body was numb. Ning Shu looked up at the sky. The sky was still dark, and the frosted glass moon was faintly visible under the cover of the dark clouds. When would the sun rise? The surroundings were quiet, and he felt like he had been abandoned by the world. Ning Shu gripped the essential bomb in his hand tightly. Ning Shu could only use essential bomb to ward off mosquitoes. It could stop the itch and refresh the mind, but it was also used to numb his somewhat crumbling logic. Corpse puppets were also insects, so essential bomb oil should be of some use. Otherwise, Ning Shu would be at a loss. Ning Shu smelled the pungent smell, and his head cleared up a little. He squeezed together with his 2 roommates. Ning Shu tried to sense the spirit chi, but the distorted magnetic field couldn't even sense the Fire Sun's power, let alone spirit chi. Peerless martial arts were completely useless. If there was no spiritual energy, how could he draw talismans? What kind of world was this? Ning Shu felt a little sleepy and wanted to sleep. He almost touched the divine tool essential bomb in his eyes. Maybe he could develop the Sharingan. Why would something like this happen? Ning Shu's other 2 roommates asked. Did this only affect people who were awake? Those who are asleep don't know anything, so they are fearless. It was really full of nonsense. Ning Shu was now waiting for daybreak, and then the dormitory auntie would open the door. Then these bizarre things would disappear. Otherwise, he would deceive himself and go to sleep. Maybe what he saw was an illusion. However, Ning Shu wanted to sleep, but he couldn't. The temperature of his roommate next to him reminded him that this was not an illusion. In a flash, the overwhelming number of corpse puppets in front of him disappeared. Ning Shu didn't feel relieved. Instead, he became even more nervous. Who knew what would appear in the next moment? The corpse puppets retreated like the tide. The ground was clean, and there was a dead corpse puppet in front of him. Ning Shu, excuse me, where did these insects go? Usually, there are no such things in the dormitory. Where did these insects come from, and where did they go now? Ning Shu was about to have a splitting headache from these nonsensical things. There was no logic at all, and it ignored the rationality of the development of things. It was like a dream. Ning Shu poked at the corpse puppet in front of him. This corpse puppet was very big, half the size of a baby's fist. This thing seemed to be real. Damn, where did so many corpse puppets go? Ning Shu was tangled up with this problem, and he was about to go crazy. Especially when there were zombies on the 4th floor. The zombies climbed in through the window, but it was the 4th floor. The problem was, where did the zombies go? Could it be that they were eating other students? This seemed to be a university setting. Why were there ghosts, children, and clowns? Who knew what other ghosts would appear? Just as Ning Shu was thinking about this, she heard screams coming from upstairs one after another, as well as the hoarse roars of zombies. There were sounds of running upstairs. It was obvious that the people upstairs were running in all directions. The desperate screams made Ning Shu's heart hurt. His roommate shook the iron door, making the iron door creak, and called for the dormitory auntie. Ning Shu rubbed his head. A classmate ran downstairs and saw Ning Shu's group of 3. His eyes suddenly lit up. Save me, there are zombies chasing me. Ning Shu's group. They attracted the zombies. Now there was no way out. Listening to the approaching roars of the zombies, Ning Shu looked for a weapon. He just wanted to know why he had no fighting power in this distorted world. And his aura was all messed up. Ning Shu did not find a suitable weapon. Could it be that he could tear a zombie with his bare hands? Is this the world of zombies? Ayo! The girl who ran over twisted her body. She was obviously turned into a zombie. She was bitten by a zombie, and now she turned into a zombie. Ning Shu saw that she was about to bite her roommate and quickly grabbed her collar. It took her a lot of effort to pull the female zombie away. Use essential bomb. Ning Shu's roommate who gave Ning Shu the essential bomb shouted. Ning Shu, ah! Ning Shu was desperate. He sprinkled essential bomb on the zombie. When the essential bomb splashed on the female zombie's body, it immediately made a sizzling sound, as if it was splashed with sulfuric acid. It actually corroded the zombie. Ning Shu, essential bomb? This was sulfuric acid. He was afraid that she would use the essential bomb as if it was a treasure. What is essential bomb? Why is essential bomb so awesome? Logic is dead. Ning Shu was on the verge of collapse. It seemed that Ning Shu would have to spend the rest of his days hugging essential bomb. After dealing with the female zombie, Ning Shu looked at his roommate who gave him the essential bomb. Ning Shu felt that he should know this girl, but he couldn't seem to figure out her name. His mind had been in a rather muddled state. How do you know that essential bomb is useful? Ning Shu's roommate asked. His roommate shook his head and said in confusion, I don't know. Ning Shu, then why did you give me the essential bomb? Then how did you know that it was useful and even brought it with you? Was she in a dream or reality? Such a nonsensical and illogical situation made Ning Shu feel that he was in an illusion or a dream. There were bugs everywhere. So much for reading novels. Chapter 1948. Falling in Love with You. Transmigrating canon fodder female supporting character Counterattack. Ning Shu held the essential bomb in her hand. Why isn't the sky bright yet? Ning Shu looked at the sky through the iron gate in front of her. The moon seemed to have shifted a little, but there was no sign of dawn. The sound of howling and roaring upstairs was endless. Didn't the dormitory auntie hear such a big movement? What should we do now? Her roommate asked at a loss. Ning Shu didn't know what to do. She could only hold the essential bomb in her hand. At this time she was powerless. She released her spiritual force and scanned the situation of the entire building. Then, Ning Shu saw people who were spinning in circles on the spot. There were also female students whose limbs were torn apart by zombies. There were ghosts and zombies. This building was like hell. Ning Shu scanned the small house next to the dormitory building. The dormitory auntie lived there. As a result, she saw the dormitory auntie sleeping in a coffin. Suddenly, the coffin lid flew up. A female zombie wearing a Qing dynasty cheongsam and a flag on her head jumped out and jumped toward the dormitory door. She had a green face, sharp teeth, and blood-red nails. At this time, the moon shone slightly, and the white moonlight shone on the dormitory auntie. Oh my God! Ning Shu was about to kneel down. The dormitory auntie jumped in front of the iron gate. Through the gap of the iron gate, she reached out to grab Ning Shu and her two roommates. Ning Shu pulled her two roommates away from the iron gate. The female zombie who was blocked by the iron gate waved her hands to grab Ning Shu and the other two. However, it was very funny that she jumped outside the door, making the iron gate creak. Ning Shu held the essential bomb. This thing should be used sparingly. This world is mostly an illusion. Moreover, the space is distorted. There is no spiritual energy, not even the basic rules of the world. This is a crazy world. Zombies, ghosts, what else is there? Ning Shu rubbed her eyebrows. She felt powerless as if she was in a fog and couldn't see the direction clearly. Moreover, Ning Shu had a hunch that an endless wave of monsters was about to attack. Come on, plant some plants. Shimmy, what do we do now? One of her roommates, Ning Shu, shouted. My name is Shimmy? Ning Shu asked. What's wrong with you? Don't you even know your own name? His roommate asked anxiously. Ning Shu was at a loss. He had been in the same state all this time. What am I doing? Where am I going? Where did this damn thing come from? What kind of fucking world is this? What kind of joke is an essential bomb? The zombie banged against the iron door, and from the looks of it, the lock was about to be broken. Even the iron bar was bent. Let her knock it. If she knocks it open, we can get out. It was too dangerous to be trapped in this dormitory. He didn't even have a place to hide. The only way was to jump out of the window. What if he became disabled or died? Ning Shu held the essential bomb and looked at the green-haired zombie. He wondered if it would be useful for zombies. Ning Shu placed the essential bomb on the tip of his nose. It was just an ordinary essential bomb. Why was it so awesome? The setting of this world was really crazy. Could it be some kind of divine weapon? Do you have any more essential bomb? Ning Shu's roommate asked. His roommate shook his head. No, I only have one bottle. You're giving it to me with just one bottle? Ning Shu looked at her. She was really sacrificing herself for others. She's going to break open the door. The other roommate shouted in horror. Ning Shu blocked his two roommates behind him. He held the essential bomb and prepared to sprinkle it on the zombie. Suddenly, a stick appeared behind the female zombie's back. It hit the zombie's head heavily. Then, the female zombie fainted under Ning Shu's gaze. Fuck, she fainted. Shouldn't a normal zombie be invulnerable? Then, it would turn around and bite its attacker to death? Ning Shu was speechless. It was illogical. Shimmy, I'm here to save you. A boy wearing a white turtleneck sweater suddenly appeared. He didn't dare to put down the stick in his hand. The reason why he could see that the boy was wearing a turtleneck sweater was because the moonlight was so bright. Ning Shu silently looked at his own pajamas that exposed his arms. Then, he silently looked at the boy's turtleneck sweater. Brother, aren't we in the same season? Why is he wearing a sweater, but she and her roommate are wearing so little? Why don't they feel cold? Shimmy? Ning Shu shouted. Just at this moment, a cold wind blew in. Ning Shu suddenly shivered. It was so cold that he couldn't stand it. Could it be that he was so scared that his adrenaline was running wild? He couldn't feel the cold at all? Now that someone had come to save him, he relaxed. Ning Shu sucked back his snot and tightly held the essential bomb. He looked at the only normal person who appeared. But what if this was some kind of monster in human skin? Ning Shu was so cold that his teeth chattered. He regretted saying something about the weather. He felt that it was because of his complaints that the world suddenly became so cold. "Or you?" Ning Shu asked. This guy looked very gentle. He was wearing a white turtleneck sweater. He had a clean temperament and looked good. "I'm Song Imo," Song Imo said anxiously. Then he realized that the door couldn't be opened. He suddenly felt embarrassed. He had the urge to shake the zombie awake and make her hit the door. Ning Shu still didn't dare to get close to Song Imo. Who knew what he was up to? There should be a key in the dormitory auntie's room. Go and find the key. Okay, wait here. Song Imo took the wooden stick and went into the house to find the key. But after entering, there was no movement. He didn't come out for a while. There were all kinds of painful roars upstairs. It was like hell. There was the sound of running. With such a big commotion, why didn't anyone come to save her? Only Song Imo came. The female zombie that was knocked unconscious by Song Imo woke up. She immediately jumped up and started to hit the door. Song Imo, who was looking for the key, still hadn't come back. Ning Shu couldn't describe his current feelings. In short, fuck. Why isn't Song Imo back yet? His roommate was worried. It's okay. Let her hit it. Ning Shu held the essential bomb. His roommate glanced at Ning Shu. I still hope that Song Imo can find the key quickly. I don't know if we can resist the zombie. I'm just curious. Why did something like this happen in our dormitory? Ning Shu asked. I don't know. His roommate said blankly. Ning Shu's mouth twitched. It was really torturous. There was no logic at all. Song Imo finally found the key and hurriedly ran out of the room. Seeing that the zombie had woken up, he hit the zombie with the stick again. The zombie fell straight down. Don't worry, I'll open the door right away. Song Imo was very nervous. When he was looking for the key, he accidentally dropped the key on the ground. He quickly squatted down to pick it up. Song Imo, behind you. His roommate pointed behind Song Imo. His face was filled with fear. Just read a novel. Chapter 1949. Ning Shu saw many skeletons crawling out from the ground. These skeletons looked extremely white under the moonlight as they crawled out from the ground. How did you get out of the cement floor? Song Imo stiffly turned his head and saw a lot of skeletons behind him. They were approaching him step by step. The skeleton's mouth was still opening and closing, and it was making kacha sounds. Open the door quickly. Ning Shu shouted to Song Imo. Song Mo's hands were trembling. Ning Shu reached out and grabbed the key from Song Mo's hand to open the door. Song Mo tightly clung to the iron door, watching the skeleton army coming towards him. It was so scary. Ning Shu opened the iron door with a kacha sound. She opened the door and prepared to go out. Song Mo wanted to come in, but the two of them bumped into each other. Ning Shu directly bumped into Song Mo's chest, causing him to groan. Go in, there are so many skeletons outside. Song Mo pushed Ning Shu inside. Ning Shu shook his head. Go out, the dormitory is more dangerous. Who knows what will appear in the dormitory, and there is no logic at all. There are zombies in the building. His roommate also came out. Zombies? Song Mo was dumbfounded. The army of skeletons was getting closer and closer. Everyone was so scared that their faces turned pale. Song Mo touched the stick at his feet and swung it at the nearest skeleton. The skeleton was unexpectedly brittle. With just one swing of the stick, it actually fell apart. Nice to look at but useless. Song Mo also felt that there was nothing to be afraid of. He swung the stick and randomly hit the skeletons. Ning Shu picked up a thigh bone. This thigh bone was very long. Ning Shu thought that when the skeleton was alive, it must have had long legs. Ning Shu took the thigh bone and randomly hit the skeletons, trying to open a path. They did not want to be locked in the dormitory. His two roommates also gathered their courage and took the thigh bone to hit the skeletons. Although the bones were brittle and made a cracking sound when they were smashed apart, just like chewing on a crispy horn, there were simply too many of them. Ning Shu and the other three were so tired that they couldn't even lift their hands. However, There were still a lot of them, and charging out was a little difficult. Song Mo panted. Ning Shu said, "We can't get out. We will be drowned by the skeleton army." Then, back to the dormitory? Subconsciously, Ning Shu felt that the dormitory was a safe place. However, with so many things in the dormitory, he felt that this feeling was very unreliable. "Then let's go back to the dormitory," the two roommates said in unison. Ning Shu shattered a skeleton. But there are ghosts, zombies, and undead hags in the dormitory. Who knows what else will pop out? These skeletons were destroyed by some unknown force. All the skeletons fell apart and became white bones. They lay on the ground in disarray, forming a thick pile of white bones. There was no end to the pile of white bones on the ground. It was horrifying. To go or not to go, Ning Shu made a prompt decision. He stepped on the white bones and prepared to run. The sky was still dark. Ning Shu raised his head and looked at the moon in the sky. It seemed that the moon was motionless, but it also seemed to have shifted a little. It was a very difficult night. Ning Shu felt that he might not be able to wait until dawn. There was no day here. Ning Shu stepped on the ribs, shoulder blades, hand bones, leg bones, and other bones to leave the female dormitory. However, as he walked, the bones under his feet vibrated and then the bones flew up. Ning Shu slipped and fell to the ground. She quickly got up and raised her head to see that all the bones had gathered together, forming a huge white bone spirit made of white bones. "Oh my God, run!" Ning Shu turned around and ran back to the dormitory. It seemed that there was no place to run now. He could only run back to the dormitory. This skeleton was very big. It was even taller than the dormitory. It raised its foot and stepped on the four people. Ning Shu swung his legs and ran into the dormitory. He then locked the door with a click. Ning Shu panted. Although this dormitory was a very dangerous place, in his mind, he felt that this dormitory was at least safe. It could resist some monsters, such as the skeleton monster. The skeleton monster roared and reached out its hand to shake the entire building. The entire building swayed, and cracks appeared on the walls. The shrill sound went straight into their ears. It was very uncomfortable. It was as if their hearts were curled together. "Ning Shu, behind you!" Song Mo hit the back of Ning Shu with a stick. Ning Shu turned around and saw a green-faced female zombie with fangs reaching out to strangle him. When did she run in? Song Mo used a stick to hit the female zombie, but the female zombie that could be knocked unconscious before was now invulnerable. The stick had no effect on her. Song Mo's stick was broken, and he couldn't move the zombie at all. Ning Shu couldn't breathe because of the zombie's choking. He took out the essential bomb and sprinkled it in the zombie's eyes. The essential bomb splashed on the zombie's face. There was a sizzling sound in the zombie's eyes. The invulnerable zombie was corroded by the essential bomb. The zombie was in great pain. Her face was smoking. She let go of the hand that was strangling Ning Shu's neck. Ning Shu bent over and coughed against the wall. Her throat was burning and her neck was about to break. The female zombie trembled on the ground. In the end, it trembled violently and died. The dormitory auntie died. Although one of them was killed, Ning Shu was really helpless. Why did the essential bomb have such an effect? Ning Shu couldn't ignore it even if he tried. How could she face the essential bomb in the future? Sulfuric acid? Song Mo was dumbfounded. A gust of wind mixed with the stench of corpses rushed into Song Mo's nose. Essential bomb. Ning Shu said. White Bones was still shaking the building. The building was swaying left and right. In White Bones' hands, the building was like a toy. All kinds of things fell to the ground. This building was going to fall apart because of White Bones. Ning Shu picked up the broken stick on the ground and sprinkled some essential bomb on the sharp part. Then he opened the metal door. He was ready to rush out and kill this thing. What if the building really collapsed? What are you doing? Song Mo grabbed Ning Shu's arm. I'm going to try. Since the essential bomb was the setting of a divine weapon, why not make good use of it? Ning Shu was really embarrassed and out of character. I'll go. Song Emo snatched the stick from Ning Shu's hand. Ning Shu didn't let go. No need. You look like a weak scholar. Are you sure you can do it? I'll go. Song Emo didn't back down. Okay, you go. Ning Shu let go. Song Emo grabbed the stick with both hands and took a deep breath. Her fingers moved and squeezed the stick tightly. Chapter 1950. The floor shook violently. Ning Shu and his group were at the bottom. If they were at the top, they would have vomited from the shaking. If they did not act, they would be drowned in the rubble. Ning Shu saw that Song Emo had been mentally prepared, so he snatched the wooden stick from his hand, pulled open the iron door, and rushed towards the huge skeleton. He directly inserted the stick that was coated with essential bomb into the skeleton. As expected, the essential bomb began to corrode the skeleton, emitting green smoke. This was a grotesque world. White bones seemed to be in pain. It lifted its foot and stomped on Ning Shu. The huge foot stomped on Ning Shu. Even if Ning Shu tried his best to run, he was still stepped on by the huge foot. Shermay! Ning Shu suddenly opened his eyes and looked at the snow-white ceiling of the dormitory. The large fan in the middle was spinning loudly. Ning Shu's body was covered in sweat. His heart was beating rapidly, and his ears were filled with thumping sounds. Ning Shu sat up. His head was dizzy, and his head was splitting. He did not have any strength left in his body. Ning Shu rubbed his brows. He turned his head and saw the oil beside the bed. A faint smell of camphor and mint surrounded the tip of his nose. The oil had a lot of scenes. Was it a dream? Ning Shu's body was sore and weak. His body was so tired that it was more tired than running 5 kilometers. He was really too tired. Shermay, hurry up. Class is about to start. Ning Shu's roommate said. This roommate was the one who gave Ning Shu the oil in his dream. Ning Shu's mind was in a mess. He actually could not remember the name of this woman. Sometimes he clearly knew someone, but he could not remember their name. Temporary amnesia. I know. Ning Shu got off the bed weakly. To be honest, Ning Shu felt that he was sleepwalking. In a daze, he washed his face. Thinking of his dream, Ning Shu held the basin and looked into the bathroom. There were still many people washing and using the toilet. Ning Shu let out a long sigh. Was it really a dream? Ning Shu splashed his face with the cold water. The cooling water made Ning Shu's mind a little clearer, and his stinging eyes also felt a little better. In any case, he couldn't muster up any energy. Ning Shu buried his face in the basin to wake up. After washing up, she hurriedly followed her roommates to class. There was more freedom in the university, but if one was unlucky enough to meet a roll call, he would not want the credits anymore. Although Ning Shu wasn't feeling well and he was in a daze, there should be more people around, so there shouldn't be any demons or ghosts. Ning Shu followed the crowd to the classroom and found a seat. Before the professor arrived, Ning Shu tried to practice the peerless martial arts. Although there was no spiritual energy in the modern world, there was still the power of the sun. Then, Ning Shu realized that he couldn't use the peerless martial arts at all. Even if the sun was shining brightly and there were birds jumping and chirping on the branches outside the window, the magnetic field was still distorted. Ning Shu? What's going on? It's not a dream. Could it be that I haven't woken up from the dream? Ning Shu felt weak all over and had a headache. It was so uncomfortable that he felt like he was going to die. Shimmy! Someone poked Ning Shu's back with a pen. Ning Shu turned and saw Song Emo. Ning Shu asked, "What's the matter? Why are your eyes so red? Didn't you sleep well?" Song Emo asked Ning Shu. "It's fine." Ning Shu turned his head. Song Emo poked Ning Shu with the pen again. Ning Shu suppressed the irritation caused by the discomfort in his body and silently chanted the clear heart mantra in his heart. "What's the matter now?" Ning Shu asked with a smile. "Shimmy, I think your smile is very scary." Song Emo looked at the smiling Ning Shu and took out a hamburger for Ning Shu. "You've eaten. Here you go." Ning Shu saw that the hamburger was full of maggots and there was a foul smell. In short, it was very disgusting. Ning Shu's heart was beating like thunder, But he said calmly, "I've eaten. You can keep it for yourself." "I've eaten too. You can have it," Song Mo said as he stuffed the hamburger into Ning Shu's hand. "Ning Shu, I'm not hungry really." Ning Shu hurriedly refused, determined not to eat. "What's wrong with you? You look so haggard," Song Mo asked curiously. Seeing Ning Shu's pale face, he couldn't help but ask worriedly, "Are you sick?" "Don't be shy. This is your breakfast." "I'm not eating." Ning Shu declined. "I'm giving it to you." "No, it's your hamburger." "Okay, don't push it around. Give it to me." A roommate grabbed the hamburger, and then took a bite of the hamburger under Ning Shu's somewhat horrified gaze and chewed. Ning Shu closed his eyes and rubbed his eyes. When he opened his eyes, he saw that there were still maggots crawling on the buds. There were also maggots crawling on the beef slices inside. "Ning Shu, is she blind or are these people all blind?" But the people around him didn't feel anything unusual. It was as if his roommate was eating an ordinary beef hamburger. Ning Shu's roommate, who was extremely energetic, asked, "How's the taste? Is it fresh?" "Not bad. Don't be modest next time." The roommate winked at Ning Shu ambiguously. "Don't you see the maggots on it?" Ning Shu asked. The roommate looked back and forth at the hamburger. "There are no maggots." "Don't disgust people when they're eating." The roommate pounded Ning Shu's chest with his small fist, which almost broke Ning Shu's heart. Ning Shu closed his eyes and rubbed his temples. When he opened his eyes again, he saw his roommate stuffing the last bite of the hamburger with maggots into his mouth. Ning Shu deeply suspected that there was something wrong with his eyes. Moreover, it was a big problem. Ning Shu took out a mirror from his bag and hid behind a book to look at the mirror. Ning Shu pulled his eyes hard to see if there was any functional problem with his eyes. The things he saw were different from other people's eyes. Sure, Mei wasn't a great beauty that could cause the downfall of a country. At most, she was a beauty with fair skin. Her skin was very beautiful, and there weren't any messy spots. It was also considered beautiful. Her eyelids were swollen, and there were red veins inside. She looked very haggard, but there was nothing wrong with her. Could it be that his eyes were playing tricks on him? The professor came to give a lecture. It was a female professor. First, she called out the name. Ning Shu didn't know if it was an illusion, but he felt that the professor called out his name. Ning Shu felt that the professor was looking at him with a hideous smile. The flesh on his face fell off piece by piece. It was blood red, and the texture of his muscles was clearly visible. Ning Shu didn't know that his eyesight was so good that he could see the skin on the professor's face on the podium. Ning Shu, prosperity, democracy, harmony, justice, law, world peace, socialist core values protection, spirit protection, spirit protection, spirit protection, spirit protection, spirit protection, spirit protection without spirit energy. Ning Shu found that he had become a fake Taoist priest. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.